Chapter 75. On June 9, 2015, the 2011 graduation ceremony of Jianghai University was held in Heliang Great Auditorium. Heliang Wei Auditorium was donated by Heliang Wei, the richest man in Macau and a patriotic businessman. The whole building was built in a Chinese-style architectural style, with large-scale and advanced facilities. The seats on the upper and lower floors could accommodate 6,500 spectators. Heliang Wei is a famous gambling king. He owns a 7-star Macau hotel and 3 luxury casinos. His business scope involves gambling, real estate, logistics, entertainment and other industries, with assets of more than 50 billion. The gambling king was born in a poor family. Before he finished high school, he ran to the street as a hawker selling fish eggs. Then, relying on his hard work and clever mind, he became an influential figure in Macau step by step, and became a legend in the modern metropolis. However, the most interesting thing is not his struggle experience, but the gambling king's boundless luck with women. Heliang Wei is unattractive, but he has 7 wives. In addition to the original wife, the other 6 include 4 Australian misses and 2 Xiangjiang misses. He has a total of 19 children. He can be called a real winner in life. In his old age, Heliang Wei is very enthusiastic about charity. Every year, he donates more than 1 billion yuan in China, mainly to aid education and medical care. There are more than 100 buildings named after him, such as hospitals, libraries, auditoriums, laboratories, gymnasiums and so on. Heliang Great Auditorium of Jianghai University was completed 2 years ago and ranks in the forefront of the similar buildings in domestic universities. At 9 a.m., the auditorium was already full. Lu Qin and Gao He were sitting in the back seat of the lower floor, surrounded by their classmates. Because there is a half-year social practice period in the senior year, many familiar students have not seen each other for a long time. Everyone was naturally very happy to reunite here, talking and laughing and greeting each other with concern. But thinking that they will go their separate ways after today, they can't help but feel sad and nostalgic. Lu Qin applied for social practice half a year in advance. It has been a year since he left school. Many students specially came to chat with him, asked him about his current situation and future plans, and also invited him to start a business together. Lu Chen's relationship in the university is still very good. Although not everyone likes him, there are many people who are willing to become friends with him. Of course, there are also people who don't like him. For example, the thin and tall young man who just came over had a teasing look on his face, and his tone was very annoying. Lu Chen, how are you doing in the capital? It's not easy living in Beijing, right? Do you earn enough money to eat? Zhang Jinping, no one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Before Lu Chen could answer, Gao He was angry. He abruptly stood up and looked down at the other party. Are you itching for a beating again? The tall and thin young man took half a step back and said resentfully, Gao He, don't bite Lu Dongbin. I asked Lu Chen because I want to help him. Next month, I will join EasyNet company. Everyone is in Beijing, so we can take care of each other. EasyNet is one of the top 10 web portals in the country and is listed on NASDAQ in the United States. For the computer science graduates of Jianghai University, it is undoubtedly a good choice for employment. Therefore, when this thin and tall young man called Zhang Jinping spoke, he did not conceal his pride. EasyNet company. Isn't that a famous pig farm? Zhou Rui said in a strange tone, well, that really suits you. The owner of EasyNet company spent a lot of money 2 years ago to open a modern and green pig farm. It is said that he lost tens of millions of yuan, so netizens called EasyNet a pig farm, and it has another meaning. Both Gao He and Wan Hongji laughed. Lu Chen also laughed and said, Zhang Jinping, I appreciate your kindness, but you should go back to your seat. Zhang Jinping is also a computer science major, but he is not in the same class as Lu Qin. This guy once pursued Wang Ying, but he was defeated by Lu Qin and became one of the many losers. Later, Lu Chen's family changed, and he broke up with Wang Ying. Zhang Jinping was the one who gloated the most. He made a lot of sarcasm to Lu Qin, and always looked like a coward. He probably thought that today was the last chance to hit Lu Qin, so he deliberately came over to ridicule him. As a result, he was directly killed by Gao He and Zhou Rui, and he was also humiliated. Lu Qin will not be serious with the other party. When he was at his lowest, he didn't put Zhang Jinping in his eyes. Let alone now. Zhang Jinping still wanted to sneer at him, but when he saw Gao He's unkind eyes, he finally left resentfully. He was really beaten by Gao He before. What the hell? Zhou Rui said contemptuously, I heard that after Old San went to the capital, he also ran to chase Wang Ying. As a result, Wang Ying was too lazy to get rid of him. This time, I don't know who helped him get into the pig farm. Jianghai University is a key university in China. It has good exchanges with many well-known large enterprises. Every year, it will recommend a group of excellent graduates to these enterprises. Of course, those who can be recommended by the school are not necessarily the best students. Wan Hongji quietly pulled him, and Zhou Rui suddenly came to his senses and closed his mouth. In front of Lu Qin, don't mention Wang Ying. Lu Qin didn't care. He smiled and said, don't worry about him, the ceremony has begun. In the majestic music accompaniment, the 2011 graduation ceremony of Jianghai University officially began. In the beginning, the school leaders gave a speech. The content was nothing more than recalling the past and looking forward to the future. After the leaders finished speaking, it was the speech of the representatives of the outstanding graduates. Everyone listened drowsily until the diplomas were handed out. Jianghai University implemented a credit system. If you have enough credits, you can graduate. Lu Qin muddled along in his freshman and sophomore years. In his junior year, he worked hard to save enough credits for graduation. Otherwise, he would have to give up on getting a graduation certificate and go to the capital to work in the senior year. Lining up to take the heavy red certificate from the principal, Lu Qin could feel the weight of it. Although Lu Qin may not use this certificate in the future, it represents the past he once had. The happy, the sweet, the sad, the painful, the hard past. After receiving the graduation certificate and changing into a bachelor's robe, everyone ran to the lawn to take graduation photos. One for the computer science group, one for the classmates, one for the dormitory brothers. The continuous clicking sound, accompanied by laughter, formed the main melody in the university at this moment. Put aside the sadness of parting, please remember our college life. Don't forget 2015. At 7:00 in the evening, the graduation party was also held in Heliang Great Auditorium. Compared with the graduation ceremony during the day, the number of students who came to the graduation party was more. The auditorium with 6,500 seats had at least 8,000 plus people. Many of them stood in the aisles on both sides, and there were also some who sat together. Many people were not graduates of the 2011 class. They just came to watch the excitement and send off their seniors. The big stage for the performance was ready. The huge LED background screen constantly replayed the promotional video of Jianghai University. As the music sounded, the lights were turned on, and the two hosts of the party appeared first. Respected leaders, respected teachers, respected guests and friends who care about the development of Jianghai University, good evening, all the students of Jianghai University. First of all, let us use the warmest applause to say to the teachers who have paid countless efforts and sweat for our growth, teachers, you have worked hard. With the cadence of the speech of the male and female hosts, Jianghai University's 2015 graduation party officially began. Warm applause sounded in the auditorium, like a summer storm. Dancing the melody of youth, fluttering the notes of youth, igniting the boiling enthusiasm, burning our dream of flying. We gather with a beautiful vision, full of joy, we are melancholy because we are about to leave. We meet in this colorful and gorgeous season, the eyes are full of emerald, bowing to touch the new green. Dear teachers, dear students, when we hear the cicadas in the summer, we usher in the last moment of separation. Tonight, nearly 10,000 teachers and students have gathered here, bringing with them a different kind of mood. When the host showed his eloquence on the stage, Lu Chen quietly came to the backstage of the auditorium. Chapter 76. Zhanghai University's activities involving cultural performances are basically held in Heliang Great Auditorium. The scale of this auditorium is very large, and the backstage is also very spacious, with a director's room, dressing room, changing room, electronic room, props room, and even a shower room and a lounge. When Lu Chen came in, there were at least 100 or 200 people in the large dressing room, most of whom were students who were going to perform on stage. Many girls in beautiful costumes had put on makeup and gathered in twos and threes to chat and laugh. Lu Chen has participated in many cultural performances and is no stranger to the backstage of the auditorium. He found a seat in the corner and sat down calmly. He opened the guitar case and took out the guitar. While tuning, he practiced his hand. His performance in the evening is scheduled for 8:30, so it's still early. Just as Lu Chen strummed the strings and hummed in a low voice, he suddenly heard a soft call from the side. Hearing this familiar voice, Lu Chen secretly sighed in his heart. He put down the guitar, turned around and asked, "Wang Ying, long time no see. What's the matter?" In front of Lu Chen is a girl in a white dress. She is about 160 meters tall and well-proportioned. She has an oval face and willow leaf eyebrows. She has long hair and thin makeup. She is quite an outstanding beauty. Wang Ying, who studied in the Chinese department of Zhanghai University, is also Lu Chen's ex-girlfriend. Lu Chen's indifferent tone made Wang Ying frown. She hesitated and asked, "Lu Chen, did Chao Shuzhu tell you? My uncle's company in Hangzhou is recruiting people, and the position is very good." "I know, the class monitor has already told me." Lu Chen interrupted, "Thank you for your kindness, but I plan to develop in the capital, so thank you." Lu Chen. Wang Ying's eyes flashed a touch of displeasure, and her voice rose a notch. "Can you not be so stubborn? What future do you have in the capital? Even if you don't think for yourself, you have to consider the situation at home, right?" Her face showed an expression of exasperation at his failure to meet her expectations. Lu Chen smiled instead. "Wang Ying, it's been so long, but your temper hasn't changed. I don't think we have anything to talk about." Wang Ying was not angry. She asked thoughtfully, "Lu Chen, do you still hate me?" Lu Chen shook his head, got up and said to Wang Ying, "I used to hate him, but now I have figured it out. I think even if nothing happened to my family, I'm afraid the two of us wouldn't have been together for long. Plus, I had my own problems back then, so no one needs to blame each other. When we meet again in the future, we'll still be classmates and friends." Wang Ying looked at Lu Chen in a daze. Such a rational and mature Lu Chen made her feel very unfamiliar, as if the person standing in front of her was another person. There is a sense of loss. After a while, she said in a daze, "All right then, goodbye." After that, Wang Ying turned around and left, not very willing. Lu Chen smiled. He was very clear about Wang Ying's thoughts. It was nothing more than to make up for the guilt of breaking up with him. But he had nothing better to do. Staying in Hangzhou to get a very good job. As for the entanglement with Wang Ying, the past can't be recalled. Let the past be the past. Lu Chen just wanted to sit down again. Suddenly, he felt something was wrong and subconsciously looked to the right. Just a few steps away from him, there was a beautiful woman with bright eyes and white teeth. The aqua blue evening gown perfectly accentuated her graceful figure. A pair of insanely straight long legs were casually swaying. Her bright and spirited eyes carried a faint smile, and her exquisite picturesque face was pleasing to the eyes. She sat there quietly, but the light she emitted was enough to illuminate the darkest corner. Lu Chen couldn't help but be stunned. Su Xian. Su Xian was a very famous figure at Jianghai University. She was the department flower of the foreign languages department. She was a female top student who won a first-class scholarship every year. Moreover, she was versatile in singing and dancing. The number of pursuers was comparable to the number of carps crossing the river. Lu Chen knew Su Xian. Of course, there were not many people who didn't know her, but it was only limited to knowing her. He didn't expect that Su Xian would hide here alone. He didn't notice it just now. In Lu Chen's limited impression, Su Xian was always surrounded by a few attentive flower protectors. Su Xian blinked and said, "Lu Chen, I didn't mean to eavesdrop on you too." Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. "Sorry, there's nothing wonderful to disappoint you." Su Xian chuckled and immediately said, "To be honest, I feel that Wang Ying still has feelings for you." Lu Chen and Wang Ying, the couple who used to be in love, were also a little famous at Jianghai University. "Maybe," Lu Chen said, "it's all in the past." Su Xian understood that he didn't want to talk more, so she changed the topic. "It must be very difficult for you to develop in the capital, right?" She rarely talked to boys because there were too many crazy bees and butterflies. It was really troublesome to say a few more words and cause others to misunderstand. Tonight, in order to avoid those pursuers, she deliberately ran to the corner of the backstage. As a result, she accidentally saw a dialogue between a former couple. Su Xian had heard a little gossip about Lu Chen before and appreciated his performance just now. A man should have self-respect, self-improvement and self-confidence. So she didn't mind chatting with Lu Chen for a few more words. "Anyway, everyone will go their separate ways tomorrow." Lu Chen smiled and said, "It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort. I hope I can succeed." He asked, "What are your plans after graduation?" This sentence was probably the most asked among the students today. Su Xian said, "I'm going to Wharton Business School to study." "Wharton?" Lu Chen exclaimed, "Amazing." Wharton Business School was the world's #1 business school. It was affiliated with the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. It had a history of hundreds of years and had trained countless business elites and economists. However, it was extremely difficult to enter Wharton Business School. Lu Chen's sister, Lu Shi, had longed for this famous school, but the reality was that her choice was still a domestic school like Beijing University or Tsinghua University. Su Xian was extremely beautiful, and her academic performance was so outstanding that Lu Chen couldn't help but admire her. Su Xian smiled and said, "Thank you. If you have the opportunity to come to Philadelphia in the future, remember to have tea with me." Lu Chen smiled bitterly and said, "I don't even have your contact information." Lu Chen didn't have the idea of pursuing her, because he and Su Xian were undoubtedly people from two different worlds. However, they had a good chat now, so he mentioned it casually. Su Xian was very generous and directly gave Lu Chen her QQ number, private number. "Please don't give it to others." Lu Chen recorded it in his mobile phone. Su Xian got up and said, "It's almost my turn to go on stage. Goodbye, Lu Chen." Lu Chen also stood up and said, "Goodbye, Su Xian." He knew that the two probably wouldn't have many opportunities to see each other again. There was a touch of regret in his heart. Such a beautiful girl, even if they weren't a couple, it was a great fortune to be friends. Watching the figure of the other party disappear into the backstage, Lu Chen had just sat down when his buttocks just touched the surface of the chair. Chao Shuzhu, the class monitor Chao, ran over gasping for breath and complained when they met. "Lu Chen, why are you hiding here? It took me a while to find you." Lu Chen was surprised. "What's wrong?" Chao Shuzhu said, your performance has to be advanced. The two programs before you need time to prepare, so you are arranged to go on stage after the next program. Lu Chen said, I'm going to faint. The university's gala was very random. Of course, large-scale programs had rehearsals and time arrangements in advance, but in case of an emergency, a solo program like his would have to go on stage. Don't faint, I'm going to faint. Chao Shuzhu was anxious, hurry up and get ready. Do you want me to help you with makeup? No need, no need. Lu Chen quickly said, help me send this to the director's room first, and wait for me to play it on stage. He took out the USB from his pocket and handed it to Chao Shuzhu. As early as last month, Chao Shuzhu called Lu Chen and told him about Lu Chen's performance at the gala, so he made a music video early to accompany his performance. No problem. Chao Shuzhu took the USB and hurried to the director's room. Lu Chen exhaled. He turned around and looked at himself in the mirror of the dressing table. I have to work hard. Chapter 77. Girls in rainbow-colored feather dresses walked briskly down the stairs leading to the backstage like butterflies. The relatively narrow space was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics that could make people's heart beat faster. These beautiful girls had just finished a dance performance, and the applause in the auditorium had not yet subsided. They were talking and laughing, and the sweat on their foreheads was mixed with gold powder, shining under the light of the wall lamps. Lu Chen, with his guitar, politely turned sideways and pressed his back against the wooden wall to make way for them. Several girls looked at Lu Chen curiously and kept walking past him, leaving a string of silver bell-like laughter. On the stage outside, the host was announcing, "Thank you for the wonderful performance of the 24 beautiful girls just now. The next program is from the computer science application major, a male solo. His name is Lu Chen, let's welcome him to the stage with applause." As soon as his voice fell, Lu Chen, who was already standing at the exit of the stage, immediately stepped forward and stood under the spotlight. Facing nearly 10,000 alumni and teachers at the scene, he showed a confident smile. After the baptism of the light blue music carnival, even in the face of a large audience, Lu Chen would not be nervous. He believed in his own song. Applause rang out. Although it wasn't very enthusiastic, many students still gave face to him. In particular, Lu Chen's classmates were desperately clapping their hands, and the loud whistling sound was very professional. Lu Chen was tall and handsome. His family used to be rich, but he did not have the kind of playboy of a rich family. Moreover, he was usually very willing to help others, so his popularity among his classmates has always been quite good. Many people knew about the changes in Lu Chen's family, and they also knew that he ran out early to work to make money. Their applause was their support and admiration for Lu Chen, because it was not easy to do what he did. In seat number 19 of the 37th row of He Liang Great Auditorium, Wang Ying raised her hand and clapped twice, then immediately put it down. She stared at Lu Chen standing in the center of the stage and suddenly felt that the latter was very strange. The girl sitting next to Wang Ying quietly leaned over and asked in a low voice, "Why, do you still miss him?" Wang Ying shook her head blankly. She didn't know what was wrong with her. They had broken up for so long, and the two of them had made it clear. But there was always an emotion lingering in his heart. The girl next door advised earnestly, "Don't think too much about it since we've already split up. What's the use of being handsome now? With your qualifications, you can totally find someone better than him. For example, that Chen Peng is very good." Wang Ying frowned and said, "He and I have already passed, and I didn't think much about it." The girl next door chuckled and said, "That's right. For us girls, finding a suitable husband is the most important thing. It's so tiring to work hard in society. The housing prices in Hangzhou are so expensive. It's not worth it to suffer with a handsome guy." Wang Ying listened to it in one ear and out the other. She didn't know where her mind had drifted. At this moment, Lu Chen was speaking into the microphone and said, "Thank you for your applause. The song I'm going to sing here tonight is written by myself, and it's the first time I'm singing it in public. I'll give this song to all the girls, all the junior sisters and senior sisters. Because it's because of you that Zhanghai University is a truly beautiful campus. I wish you will always be young and beautiful." There were countless laughter in the auditorium, and many girls applauded again, more enthusiastic applause. Most of the boys were envious, jealous, and hateful, and there was no lack of secretly cursing. Using original works to please girls. You're dreaming. If you don't sing well, you'll be booed off the stage. Let's see if you can act cool. Handsome guys, especially handsome guys who can play the guitar, are the most annoying. However, Lu Chen did not feel the resentment from the single people. He turned his head and gave a thumbs up to the director on the sidelines, indicating that he could start. After a while, the image of the new song's music video appeared on the huge screen behind Lu Chen. He gently plucked the strings and played the prelude, gently and softly. The first thing that appeared on the LED screen was the virtual scenery of Zhanghai University, and then the silhouettes of girls accompanied by sketched flowers quietly appeared, setting off the 4 hand-painted artistic words, "Those flowers. That laughter reminds me of my flowers, quietly blooming for me in every corner of my life. I thought I would always stay by her side. Today we've left in the vast sea of people. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. Law. Miss her. Law. Is she still blooming? Law. Go. They've been blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world." A touch of sadness, a touch of nostalgia, a low singing about the past. Lu Chen's playing was simple and concise, but the beautiful melody and lyrics made this song have the power to hit the heart. Especially those girls, they looked at the familiar or unfamiliar photos that appeared in the music video on the big screen. Those were the memories of their youth, those running, hugging, jumping, playing. The past reappeared in front of their eyes, happy, sad, sweet, excited. They were about to graduate, about to be blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world. Some stories haven't been told yet, so let's forget it. Those feelings have been difficult to distinguish between true and false in the years. Now the weeds are overgrown here, and there are no flowers. Fortunately, I once had your spring and autumn, winter and summer. Law. Miss her. Law. Is she still blooming? Law. Go. They've been blown away by the wind, scattered to the ends of the world. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. The auditorium, which can accommodate thousands of spectators, was very quiet. There was no applause, no laughter, no talking. Everyone was listening to Lu Chen's singing. Some girls were already sobbing. The song aroused the romantic hope and the involuntary sadness in their hearts. Like dandelion flowers that bloomed unexpectedly in the right time and place, their souls seemed to be lost along with the fluttering flower catkins and could never be recovered. Lu Chen played and hummed, memories surged. The flower that left the most profound mark in his life was his senior sister, Wan. She appeared at the time when Lu Chen was at his lowest. At that time, his father had just passed away, and he broke up with Wang Ying. After experiencing great changes in his life, he was decadent and gloomy like a walking corpse. And Wan's appearance, like a bright sunshine, dispelled the darkness and haze in Lu Chen's heart. She used her tenderness to soothe Lu Chen's wounded heart, so that Lu Chen finally got rid of his depression and faced life again with a strong will. But Lu Chen couldn't keep Wan. After graduation, she emigrated to England with her family. Even Lu Chen's best friends didn't know about this relationship, and he didn't tell anyone. He had always suppressed it in his heart. Today, he sang this song here, precisely for Wan. Her photo was also in the MV, smiling brightly. Are they all old? Where are they? Just like this, we run to the ends of the world. Unknowingly, Lu Chen's eyes were wet with tears. He had never sung so emotionally, and his voice was choked. In the audience, many girls had already burst into tears. They either sobbed alone, or hugged each other to comfort each other, wantonly venting the emotions that were aroused in their hearts. Wang Ying bit her lips, and the look in her eyes was extremely complicated. Intuition told her that this song of Lu Qin was sung for his most beloved person. That person was not her. She was also moved by the song, but when she thought of this, her heart seemed to be bitten by a poisonous snake. Strong jealousy and pain, as if she had lost her most cherished treasure. The picture of the MV was finally fixed on a photo. On a drizzling afternoon, in the depths of the old streets and alleys, the silhouette of a gentle and moving woman holding a paper umbrella. The dense water vapor made the lens hazy, and it was impossible to capture her true face. But that beauty, like an orchid in an empty valley, was destined to become one of the most profound memories of all the witnesses. Lu Qin finished singing. He straightened his chest and said to the microphone, "Those flowers, thank you everyone." He wanted to thank all the flowers that appeared in his 22-year-old life. Because of their existence, life is wonderful. Note, those flowers, lyric/song, Pu Shu. Chapter 78. In Lu Chen's dream world, Those Flowers was a classic created by a talented singer. This low-key, beautiful, and slightly sad folk song had touched countless people. It had been repeatedly sung by other singers and often appeared in school art parties. It could be called a graduation song. Although it was in a different space, the charm of this song did not fade in the slightest. It could easily evoke the feelings hidden deep in people's hearts, especially those who had loved, been in love, been hurt, and experienced the same parting. It naturally resonated strongly. So many girls were crying. The song was full of gentle memories and reverie, but in the end, it could not overcome the faint sorrow of parting. Just like that, we go our separate ways. And in Those Flowers, Lu Chen poured his most sincere feelings into it. He used this song to say goodbye to his youth in school. Those flowers, thank you everyone. Lu Chen bowed deeply. The applause suddenly exploded, like artillery fire on a battlefield, fierce and lasting. Many girls stood up. Their eyes were filled with tears, and they clapped their delicate palms hard. Even if they were red and painful, they did not care. The boys also stood up. Their way of expressing their feelings was more direct, which was to shout loudly. Well sung. Sing it again. One more song. Soon, all the cheers and shouts turned into the simplest word, charge. Charge. Without experiencing the baptism of social reality, most of these boys and girls retained simple and sincere feelings. They liked it, they were touched, and they would not be stingy with their praise and applause. Lu Chen straightened up and nodded. Thank you. He took a deep breath, then turned around and walked backstage. It was over. Charge. 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 However, the orderly shouting from below the stage did not disappear because of Lu Chen's departure. Instead, it became more intense and loud. That kind of high-spirited and surging momentum seemed to be able to overturn the dome of the auditorium. The man's voice was powerful, and the woman's voice was delicate. They completely merged into one voice. Charge. A few school leaders and teachers in the first two rows of the auditorium could no longer sit still. They stood up, turned around, and waved their arms to signal the students to quiet down and not disturb the performance. However, no one paid any attention to them. Their authority had already expired on graduation day. Many people looked at each other and did not know what to do. After all, it was rare for such a situation to occur in a school cultural performance. It was almost impossible to encounter such a situation. Even Lu Chen himself did not expect that. Just as he was about to walk down the stairs, the host of the evening party rushed over and stopped him. Lu Chen, come back and sing another song. The university students were all passionate and impulsive. If the atmosphere was not controlled, something big might happen. The host's face turned pale. All right. Lu Chen also realized the seriousness of the situation and quickly returned to the center of the stage. As he appeared again, the excited shouts quickly calmed down, but everyone was still standing. Lu Chen sorted out his thoughts and said to the microphone, "Thank you, everyone. Thank you for liking this song so much. Then I will sing another song for you. It is also a song that I wrote myself. I hope you like it. Its name is Song of Time." Warm applause rang out, as dense as rain falling on banana leaves. But in an instant, it disappeared completely. Because Lu Chen began to sing. Time is slower than you, and the world is 1 year older, how can I not be anxious, youth has fled. For so many years you always say that meeting hasn't changed, but the photo remembers the young man's face. What hasn't changed is this infatuation, what has changed is this time. So many years of youth, never to return, and also met people who made me miss. This world is still this world, but it turns out that you and I are long gone. Playing the guitar casually, Lu Chen sang softly, using his voice to bring all the audience back to the past, to reminisce the beauty of the past, and to miss the people who came and went in their lives. This song had the same sentimentality as Those Flowers, but it was more nostalgic. Just like the chorus. This time, shaking and shaking, this time, turning and spinning. This time, turning and spinning, this time, turning and spinning. Accompanied by Lu Chen's clear, clean, and slightly sad singing, an indescribable atmosphere enveloped the auditorium. Everyone unconsciously sat down again and quietly listened to him play and sing. It was also quiet backstage. The facilities in the auditorium were very advanced. There was a television screen in the backstage area, where one could watch the live broadcast of the stage. Almost everyone in the large dressing room was gathered in front of the screen. Chao Xiuzhu was one of them. She had just shed tears, and there were still sparkling tears in the corners of her eyes. She was not the only one who was crying. So many years of youth, never to return, and I've met people who make me miss. But what hasn't changed is this infatuation, what has changed is this piece of time. I want to sing a ballad of time for you, so that my youth won't grow old. I want to sing a ballad of time for you, so that my youth won't grow old. Our youth won't grow old. After playing the last part, Lu Chen did not thank him again. Instead, he quietly bowed and left the stage. Let everyone slowly savor the rest. This time, no one asked him to stay and return to the stage, because everyone was still immersed in the atmosphere created by the song. Lu Chen returned backstage smoothly. As soon as he came down, a figure suddenly pounced on him and hugged him. Lu Chen was shocked. He took a closer look and hurriedly shouted, "Hey, hey, hey, class monitor Chao, don't hug indecent people." It was Chao Xiuzhu who hugged him. The female class monitor loosened her arms with red eyes and said, "Lu Chen, you sang so well. I didn't know you were so talented." Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm a late bloomer." At this time, many people around Lu Chen surrounded him and clapped their hands at the same time. Whether it was those who were about to perform on the stage or those who had already returned from the performance, they paid tribute to Lu Chen with neat, warm, and sincere applause. Lu Chen was surprised and moved. He couldn't express it and could only say, thank you everyone. Thank you." Su Xian was also in the crowd. She was smiling and giving her blessings. At the end of the graduation party, when Lu Chen and Gao He returned to the dormitory, it was already 11:30. Everyone didn't speak and lay on their beds. This was their last night in college. Goodbye, my King youth. No one knew who shouted hoarsely, but it broke the silence of the night and came through the glass window. As if it was a wounded lone wolf. Goodbye, my college. Boom. There was a low sound of something exploding. Boom. 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 This sound seemed to be contagious, spreading quickly like a plague. Gao He, who was sleeping on Lu Chen's lower bunk, suddenly turned over and stood up, and his head hit Lu Chen's bedboard heavily. But this Qilu man didn't care at all. He picked up the hot water bottle on the ground, then pushed open the glass window, smashed the hot water bottle down, and shouted out of the window with all his strength, "Wang Shaoling, I love you. Come home with me." Lu Chen, Wan Hongji, and Zhou Rui looked at each other and were speechless to comfort him. Wan Hongji silently picked up his hot water bottle and followed Gao He down the stairs. "Son of a bitch." Lu Chen laughed and immediately jumped out of bed. "Let's smash it together." Hot water bottle, basin, toothbrush jar, trash can, textbook, the entire dormitory area of the university quickly became a crazy battlefield, and everyone threw everything that can be thrown out. The sounds of crashing, shattering, shouting, crying, echoed in the empty night for a long time. This is our youth. When he couldn't smash anything, Gao He leaned over and pulled out a box of canned beer from under the bed. He grabbed a few cans of beer and threw them to Lu Chen and others. He opened one himself and said in a hoarse voice, "The last night of college, we will open our eyes, no one will sleep." As soon as his voice fell, the door of the dormitory was pushed open. Appearing at the door, it was a petite girl with tears on her face. She sobbed and said, "Gao He, I will go home with you." Patter. The beer can in Gao He's hand suddenly fell to the ground, and the mixed foam splashed out. Little by little, it splashed on his body. Note: Ballad of Time lyrics/composer, Wang Fanrui. The lyrics have been slightly changed. Chapter 79. On June 10, Lu Chen returned to Beijing. Waving away the melancholy of graduation, he cheered up and went on his way again. From now on, his identity is no longer a college student in the ivory tower, but a real fresh person in society. The road is long and far, and I will search up and down. At this moment, Lu Chen didn't know what was waiting for him in the future. He didn't know whether he was about to embark on a bright road covered with flowers or a dangerous path full of thorns. But he was fearless and full of expectations. Thursday, June 11, overcast. Lu Chen came to the Delong building in the 4th Ring Road of Beijing. The Delong building is a 58-story office building located in the most prosperous financial and business district of the 4th Ring Road. Lu Chen came here twice some time ago and participated in the production of 2 singles by the Bionics in Tianjai Music Workshop on the 35th floor. Tianjai Music Workshop is very famous in the Beijing pop music scene. It was established 10 years ago, mainly engaged in music production and promotion business, with complete and advanced equipment and a group of excellent professionals. Many big names in the industry have produced their works through Tianjai Music Workshop. In order to launch the first shot into pop music, Light Rain Media put its first album in Tianjai Music Workshop. First in quality. Although Lu Chen's participation was not deep, he had a deep understanding of the strength of Tianjai Music Workshop. So he wanted to hand over his album to Tianjai to complete. The idea of making a solo album began to germinate when Lu Chen signed with Whale TV. Later, it was not until after the PK theme show that Yunjing Music Network's editor Swayan discussed with him that he really made up his mind. Lu Chen wants to use this album as a stepping stone to enter the pan-entertainment circle. So he attaches great importance to it and takes it as the first major event after returning to Beijing. In the customer reception room of Tianjai Music Workshop, Lu Chen first met the other party's business representative. The business representative's surname was Ni, and she was in her 30s. She was a typical white-skinned woman in the workplace. Her makeup was exquisite and she was well-dressed. Although the smile on her face was slightly professional, it did not make people feel neglected. Miss Ni spoke softly, "Mr. Lu Chen, this is our company's price list for music production, which includes 5 sets of ABCDE. Of course, if you have special requirements, our company can also tailor-make it for you." Lu Chen nodded, took the price list, and looked at it carefully. The first 2 times he came to Tianjin Music Workshop, he was there to help, and he didn't inquire about the price. Now he had an eye-opener. This price list was specifically for album production, including all the costs of arrangement, recording, and post-production. Among the 5, the lowest E package was quoted at 100,000 yuan, and the highest A package was quoted at 1 million yuan. The difference was 10 times. Before coming to Tianjin Music Workshop, Lu Chen knew something about single and album production. Beijing is the center of the national cultural industry. There are countless entertainment and media companies. There are as many as millions of people in the entertainment-related industry. Big and small music studios, recording studios, and professional production companies are everywhere. If you just want to play and don't pay attention to quality, you can directly place an order online to commission the production of a personal album. And if you want to experience the feeling of recording in the studio, spending 1 or 2,000 yuan can also meet the needs. Of course, these are pure amateurs. If you really want to produce a high-quality single or album, the cost is very high. 10 or 20,000 yuan per song is the basic, and hundreds of thousands of yuan is not too expensive. You get what you pay for. So, although there are so many singers drifting in Beijing, many people have never released a real album in their lives. In addition to the song itself, the cost of production is the key, and there are also publicity and distribution later. If they can't sell it, they will lose money. As for the songs made for thousands of yuan, they can't find a channel at all, and it would be embarrassing to give them away for free. As a senior company in the industry, Tianjin Music Workshop is very professional. The price list lists the various costs included in the 5 packages in detail, so that people can see clearly. After reading it, Lu Chen was most satisfied with the C package, which has well-known arrangers and producers in the industry plus band accompaniment, high-level recording and post-production. The price is 500,000 yuan, which is equivalent to 50,000 yuan for a song. It's not that the AB package is not as good as the C package, but the price of the AB package is not what Lu Chen can afford at all. Even if it's the C package, he can't afford it now. As for the 250,000 yuan D package and the 100,000 yuan package, compared with the C package, they are not very sincere. If you don't manage the family, you don't know the cost of daily necessities. Lu Chen secretly sighed. He held the price list and asked tentatively, "Miss Ni, if I choose the C package, how much discount can your company give me?" He heard Qin Hanyang mention last time that he could bargain with the production company. Miss Ni said sincerely, "Mr. Lu, I can give you a 95% discount at most with my authority. If you can ask our manager or director to sign it, the lowest discount is 10%. Lu Chen gave up when he heard this. Not to mention that he didn't know the manager and director of Tianjin Music Workshop at all, and even if he could get the other party's signature, a 10% discount would still cost 450,000 yuan. Lu Chen knows that if he doesn't come forward personally, but talks with an industry company like Light Rain Media, it is estimated that the price will be lower. Who told him to do it alone? As the saying goes, a big tree is a good shade. Although signing a contract with an entertainment media company will lose a lot of freedom and rights and interests, there are also many conveniences, such as production and distribution, there is no need to worry about, and publicity efforts. But Lu Chen doesn't regret his choice. He thought about it and said, "Then I'll think about it. Miss Ni, can I take this price list with me?" Miss Ni smiled sweetly and said, "Absolutely. If you have any questions, you can also ask me directly." Her business card was given to Lu Qin when they met. "Thank you." Lu Qin left Tianjai Music Workshop with the price list. In fact, for Lu Qin now, 450,000 yuan is really not too big a number. He can earn it over a period of time, or he can find a way to sell 2 songs. However, this involves another problem, that is, with such a large investment, can he earn back the cost? Lu Qin is not sure. He has made some achievements in online live broadcasting and has a large number of fans, but he is not even a newcomer in the entertainment industry. He is still an outsider and has no influence at all. Moreover, online albums also involve piracy. Online albums are sold at very low prices, but not many people are willing to pay for them, because free pirated resources can soon be found after the album is released. The same principle applies to Whale TV. Don't look at him having hundreds of thousands of fish powder. It's like a reward. Only a small number of people are really willing to pay for it. The album is 100% going to be released, but Lu Qin doesn't want to lose money, and he refuses to compromise on quality. That's very problematic. The idea is beautiful, but the reality is too cruel. With a tangled mind, he took the elevator down to the ground floor of the Delong building. As soon as he stepped out of the elevator, a middle-aged man suddenly strode over and stopped Lu Qin. "Sir, are you going to make songs in Tianjai Music Workshop?" The middle-aged man, who was about 50 years old, was thin and wore a suit that was not very fitting, so it looked loose. He looked a little nervous when he spoke, and his eyes were more focused on the security guard in the hall not far away. Lu Qin was stunned and asked curiously, "What can I do for you?" The middle-aged man breathed a sigh of relief. He immediately took out a business card from his pocket and handed it to Lu Qin with both hands. "I'm Wang Changxing, manager of Nirvana Music Production Studio. Can we talk?" He spoke quite fast, with a trace of uneasiness and expectation. Nirvana Music Production Studio. Lu Qin thought about it and didn't have the slightest impression of it. He hesitated and said, "All right." He was mainly curious. There was a tea house on the first floor of the Delong building. The two found a place to sit down and ordered a pot of tea. After sitting down, Lu Chen's first question was, "Manager Wang, how did you know that I was going to make songs in Tianjai Music Workshop?" The studio manager named Wang Changxing pointed to the price list that Lu Qin had put on the table and said with embarrassment, "I saw this thing in your hand, so I came to try my luck." Lu Qin couldn't help laughing. Chapter 80. There are many music production companies in Beijing, and there are even more small studios. In the Delong building alone, there are Tianjai Workshop, Golden Disc Culture, Sunshine Records and other well-known music production units in the industry, and the competition between them is very fierce. Although Lu Chen's first choice for making a solo album was Tianjai Workshop, the latter was not the only choice. He didn't expect that there would be a small studio soliciting business in the lobby of the Delong building. It's really hard to do business these days. While sighing, Lu Qin chatted with Wang Changxing, the manager of Nirvana's studio in front of him for a few minutes. Wang Changxing dared to come here to solicit customers because he had some confidence. This Nirvana studio has an independent recording studio and band. Its members include 3 graduates of Beijing Conservatory of Music, who can complete all the work from composition to the later stage. The most important thing is that their prices are cheap. Wang Changxing said, "Our studio has the ability to guarantee the production quality of Tianjai Workshop's D package. The price is only 100,000 yuan, and an album is only 100,000 yuan. Wang Changxing is certainly not a shrewd businessman. He was obviously nervous when he offered the price. His eyes were fixed on Lu Qin, and his hands were involuntarily clenched into fists, as if he was worried that he would be ruthlessly rejected by the latter. But he said the previous sentence very confidently. And he knows Tianjai Workshop very well. Lu Chen feels a little interesting. The price of Tianjai Workshop's D package is 250,000 yuan. Wang Changxing asked for 100,000 yuan, and there is obviously room for bargaining. There should be no problem cutting down a little more. But how can the other party guarantee the same quality? Tianjai Workshop's recording studio alone is said to have cost millions of yuan, and its advanced facilities are among the best in the industry. Lu Chen doesn't believe that Nirvana's studio will have such a big investment. Otherwise, as a manager, why does he need to run to pull business by himself? And it's like waiting for a rabbit. Lu Chen didn't think he was the rabbit hitting the tree. He thought about it and said, "Manager Wang, I'm going to release a solo album, but the quality requirements are very high. At present, it's Tianjai Workshop, so I'm sorry. Tianjai Workshop's D package is not Lu Chen's choice. If he wants a cheaper package, he can also choose the E package. At least it was more reliable than a small, unknown studio, right? Then I'm really sorry to disturb you. I'm sorry for wasting your time." Wang Changxing awkwardly waved his hand and said, "I should be the one apologizing. Then goodbye." Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. He wasn't mocking him. He just felt that this person wasn't a businessman and didn't even know the basics of negotiation. However, he had a better impression of Wang Changxing. Lu Chen stood up and took the initiative to extend his hand. "Manager Wang, I'll contact you again if there's a need." Good. Wang Changxing hurriedly got up and shook hands with Lu Chen. "Thank you." Lu Chen nodded and left the tea house. When he left, Lu Chen also paid the bill. By the way, a pot of tea here was not cheap. Wang Changxing sat for a while longer. When he called the waiter to pay the bill, he found that Lu Chen had already paid the bill. He hurriedly ran out to catch up with Lu Chen, but he couldn't find the latter. Lu Chen returned to his home and spent the afternoon sorting out the songs of the album. There are 10 songs in an album. He originally finalized 6 songs: You Who Sat Next to Me, Love in the Wind, The Brother Who Slept on My Upper Bunk, Cinderella, The Bright Times of Youth, and Beauty. Now he can add Those Flowers and Ballad of Time. The 8 songs are unified and classic enough. For the first album in his life, Lu Chen will never be careless. After careful consideration, Once You was also added to the album list. Once You is not a folk song, but a light rock style, but Lu Chen likes this song very much. He decided to use this song as the ending song of the album, which is a little surprise egg. In fact, it's really extravagant to think about it. Whether it's You Who Sat Next to Me, Love in the Wind, or Those Flowers, or even Beauty, any song is qualified to be the title song of an album for publicity and promotion. Lu Chen put them all in the same album, which felt a bit of a waste of natural resources. Owning the treasures of a world is so capricious. As for the 10th song, Lu Chen has already thought about it. This song is also a folk song, the same nostalgic style, and very nostalgic. Just listen to it. The open space below my house is a cinema, it no longer appears on summer nights. Today's children don't know the past, the world people were intoxicated with at that time. When I grew up, I watched them perform love. When they kissed I felt sad. Under the screen, children played games. In the movie, someone cried for her. Law, there are no open-air cinemas in the city, I can't see the opposite side of the screen anymore. Are you still playing the game of that time? You can't see the stars when you watch the movie, Law. When Lu Chen finished singing this soothing, delicate and even a little poignant new song, the barrage in Lu Fei's live broadcast room was like a tide. It's so beautiful. Lu Fei is so talented. It's very nostalgic. I like it. It reminds me of when I was a child. The lyrics are so well written and the melody is even better. What's the name of this song? I strongly request to sing it again. No, it's 10 more times. Sing it 10 more times plus 1. Lu Chen put down the guitar and said with a smile, the name of this song is called Open Air Cinema. It's the first time I've sung it in the live broadcast room. It's to make up for what I owe you during this period of time, and I hope you can like it. He went home and attended the graduation ceremony, so the live broadcast was temporarily suspended for a few days. When it was restarted this evening, the online popularity of the live broadcast room was much less. At first, there were only 300,000 plus. Therefore, in addition to singing a new song, Lu Chen also wanted to announce a piece of good news. After a pause, he continued, in addition to telling everyone one more thing, that is, I'm going to rearrange all the songs I've written before, make a real album, and then publish it on the internet. When the time comes, everyone is welcome to buy and download it. As soon as his voice fell, the live broadcast room suddenly burst into an uproar. What? An album? I didn't hear it wrong, did I? Lu Feide is mighty. That's great, I've been looking forward to this day. Host, Big, which website will your album be published on? Don't say anything else. When the time comes, I'll inform all my friends and classmates to buy the original album. Yes, we support the original album. An online album costs 10 yuan. The students say that there's no pressure. It's just skipping breakfast. The one in front is really a nouveau riche. Eating breakfast costs 10 yuan. But I want the CD more. CD plus 1. CD plus 2. CD plus 10,000. Along with the bullet screen, there were countless fish balls and aircraft carriers given by the nouveau riche. This was the most direct way for fish fans to express their joy. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room became extremely warm, and the popularity value rose steadily due to the emergence of heavy rewards. Although Lu Chen's every live broadcast was recorded, and all the songs he sang could be found in the forum Fish Nest, a specially produced music album was a completely different matter. So far, apart from the hundreds of thousands of fish fans, Lu Chen has a group of real fans. They like the style of Lu Chen's live broadcast, like his original works, and like nostalgic or sad folk songs. On the days when they couldn't see Lu Chen's live broadcast, they would repeatedly watch the past videos, listen to his songs over and over again, and spare no effort to recommend them to others. These fans were no longer simple fans, but fans, celebrity fans. And they also had the strongest reaction to Lu Chen's upcoming album, and they most hoped that he could release a CD at the same time. What kind of album is an online album? A CD is the real album. Many Lu Fei fans expressed through the bullet screen that they would buy CDs to support Lu Chen. Their strong appeal, of course, was seen by Lu Chen. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It was not easy to release a CD album than to release an online album, and it was easier to lose money. There were too few people who bought CDs to listen to songs. However, the enthusiasm and eagerness of the fish fans gave Lu Chen a sudden flash of inspiration in his mind. In fact, it was not impossible to release an online album and a CD album at the same time. His idea came from the dream world, and it seemed that it had not appeared in this world. While Lu Chen was communicating with fans in the live broadcast room, the first single of the Bionics under Light Rain Media also began its first wave of promotion on the internet that night. Note: Outdoor Cinema, lyrics/composer, Yu Dong. Chapter 81. Drip. Just after dinner, Chen Jian sat in front of the computer as usual. He skillfully opened the small blue tab in the browser's favorites bar and linked it to Yushir. The middle-aged Chen Jian was a salaryman who worked 7 to 6. He had a gentle and kind wife and a lively and lovely daughter. At the same time, he was burdened with a heavy mortgage and family responsibilities. Therefore, he quit smoking and playing games, and reduced the number of times he went out with his friends. While living frugally, he spent most of his free time in his small study, surfing the internet, reading news, novels, movies, and videos. Youshare is the earliest and largest video website in China. It claims to have hundreds of millions of registered members. Chen Jian likes to watch all kinds of colorful video programs on it, because they are all free. The mouse wheel had just rolled twice, and Chen Jian still hadn't found the content he liked. Suddenly, a small pop-up window popped up and intruded into his line of sight. There are more and more advertisements on Youshare, Chen Jian muttered discontentedly. Of course, he was already used to the discriminatory treatment of being a free member. He accepted his fate and opened the pop-up video window. This was because clicking on the advertisement could increase the points needed to exchange for an official member. The pop-up video instantly expanded to the entire screen, and the image was quite clear. The first thing that caught Chen Jian's eyes was the scene of a bustling metropolis. He could easily tell that this was the capital city. Then, the camera swooped down at high speed into an underground passageway. The spacious underground passage was clean and tidy. It was very lively with people coming and going. The men and women in the city rubbed shoulders with each other, and their footsteps were as fast as the rhythm of the city. On one side of the underground tunnel, there were many street performers performing. Some of them were performing magic, some were showing off their dance skills, and some were singing in low voices, hoping that their performances could impress the passers-by. The camera moved forward and finally stopped on a street band. The middle-aged singer stood in front of the microphone with a guitar in his arms. His eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of life, as if he was reminiscing. The four drummers, keyboardists, bassists, and guitarists leaned against the wall, motionless, like frozen statues. After a while, the noise in the underground passage gradually disappeared, and the prelude of the music started. It was as if the band had suddenly woken up from a deep sleep. The performance began. I remember that spring many years ago. At that time, I hadn't cut my long hair yet. No credit card, no her. A home without 24-hour hot water. But back then, I was so happy. Although it was only a broken wooden guitar, in the street, under the bridge, in the field, singing the song that no one cared about. When the slightly hoarse voice was transmitted to Chen Jian's ears through the small speaker that cost a few hundred yuan, his hand that was holding the mouse suddenly became extremely stiff. His index finger that was pressing on the left button couldn't be pressed. Originally, he had planned to close it. This song was like a bolt of lightning that suddenly broke through the defenses in his heart. It made him feel the emotions that he had suppressed in the bottom of his heart for a long, long time, to the point where he thought they had long disappeared, suddenly burst forth. If one day I have no one to rely on, leave me here in that time. If one day I left quietly, bury me in the ground, in the spring. Countless memories emerged in his mind. He used to be young and frivolous. He used to be high-spirited. Now, Chen Jian did not have the impulsive passion of the past. His days were calm and peaceful. He cherished his current life very much. It was tiring but happy, but he always felt that something was missing, but he couldn't tell what it was. Until I heard this song. Chen Jian had not shed tears since he was 10 years old, but at this moment, he had the urge to cry. He watched the not very long MV in a daze, but he didn't press the mouse. At this time, the door of the study was suddenly pushed open. A little head with a small braid poked in. Her big black eyes looked curiously at Chen Jian, who was in a daze. She looked very puzzled. Biting her finger, the little girl turned her head and shouted, "Mom, it's terrible. Dad is crying." "Xiaonan, don't shout." Chen Jian suddenly woke up as if he had just woken up from a dream. He almost fell off the chair. He hurriedly shook off the mouse and raised his hand to wipe the corners of his eyes. It was really a little wet. The sound of footsteps came from afar. Chen Jian's wife appeared at the door of the study and asked, "What's wrong?" The little girl said with certainty, "I saw Dad crying. It's shameful." Chen Jian was so ashamed that he became angry. "I'm not crying. Dad's eyes are sore and he just took eye drops. He's not crying." His wife smiled. She leaned over and picked up the little girl, then closed the door. "Let's not disturb Dad." Chen Jian finally breathed a sigh of relief. His attention returned to the screen. The picture on the screen froze at the last frame. It showed the name of the song and the singer, In the Spring/The Bionics. Chen Jian calmed down, held the mouse, opened the website link of the video, and logged into the comment area. He wanted to say something. If he didn't say it, he was afraid that he would lose sleep at night. The comment area of this video titled, "The New Power of Rock and Roll, in the Spring," has been very lively. The number of comments is as high as 50,000. In addition to VIP members, video advertising is the most important profit point of Youshare. Based on the huge number of registered users, the cost of buying the homepage pop-up window is very high. Originally, the customers of the homepage pop-up window were basically product advertisers. Later, because the website users were very disgusted, coupled with the rise of the entertainment industry, the content of the pop-up window was changed to pop music, film and television previews, variety promotions and so on. Many famous singers often buy a pop-up window on the homepage of Youshare for a few days when they release a new song. The effect of promotion and publicity is quite good and can attract a lot of attention. For thousands of visitors to Youshare, the Bionics is a completely strange band, but this does not prevent them from loving this song, In the Spring. A really good song. It's been downloaded and saved. You have to listen to it at least 10 times. It's a very tasty song, a rare light rock and roll masterpiece in recent times. It's well written and sung. Does anyone know if the Bionics have other works? Is it a new band? I didn't find it on the internet. It's very touching, but it's two vicissitudes. I want to cry when I listen to it. What should I do? Isn't the original poster's tier point too low? Although this song is really good. From now on, I'm the Bionics Rice. It's the first time I've finished reading the homepage pop-up window of Youshare. It's my first time, too. One of the registered members named Mingyi Chang and wrote in the comment post, "If life has not experienced suffering, then it will never be able to experience the happiness of life itself. Suffering is part of the happiness of life, and happiness is a sublimation of suffering. Whenever we look back on the past, how can we not cry? Recalling those who have experienced suffering but the most worth recovering youth, there is always a touch of nostalgia in our hearts. But sadness does not mean depression. We sigh at the common suffering of life in the past, but we should know how to cherish the beauty and happiness of the present." I think that's what this song, In the Spring, wants to tell us. Thank you, the Bionics, for letting me experience a touch and let me hear a really good song. In this ostentatious and noisy world, good songs like this were really too rare. The post, Mingyi Chang and, was pinned by the administrator and received 30,000 plus likes. Mingyi Chang and is Chen Jian. The first single, In the Spring, by the Bionics, a subsidiary of Light Rain Media, debuted on Youshare. The number of hits exceeded 5 million that night, with more than 100,000 comments, and 85% of the audience liked it. Such data is undoubtedly the beginning of a big hit. Immediately afterward, In the Spring launched the MV and original soundtrack on Tomato, QQ Music, NetEase Music, Pop Radio and other online media simultaneously, all of which aroused widespread and enthusiastic attention. starting on June 11th and ending on June 15th, a total of 5 days. In the Spring has exceeded 100 million views on Yosher's website. The charm of a classic song can withstand the test of any time and space, and will never be buried. In the Spring has such power. As long as there is the right opportunity, it will inevitably shine with dazzling brilliance. Chapter 82. Beijing, CBD Central Business District South, Global Building, 39th floor, Light Rain Media Company, Limited. In the general manager's office, Dong Yu carefully read the thick financial statements. The coffee on the table was already cold. Light Rain Media was only established a few months ago. It was considered a newcomer in the industry. So far, the number of employees had not exceeded 50. However, with the development of the business, the work began to become very busy. Dong Yu had been working overtime. For her, to be able to take control of such a vibrant new company and then develop it was a wonderful experience with a sense of accomplishment. Knock. Knock. The door of the room was gently knocked. Without waiting for Dong Yu's response, the person pushed in. Dong Yu didn't raise her head because she knew that in the entire company, only one person would do this. Light Rain Media's director, Su Qingmei, Miss Su. Su Qingmei held 2 pieces of printed paper in her hand. She quickly walked to Dong Yu's desk and said with a smile, "Sister Yu, the promotional results of the Bionic single are out. It's 100% going to be a hit." Because of the excitement, a charming bright red appeared on her pretty face, making her even more charming and charming. Dong Yu put down the report and smiled faintly. "We have invested millions. If we can't produce results, then I should resign as the general manager." The Bionics wasn't the first band signed by Light Rain Media, but it was the first group to debut. Light Rain Media Company was undoubtedly weak in this industry where the big shots were as common as clouds. Even though Dong Yu and Su Qingmei had their own family backgrounds to rely on, in this industry, they still had to follow the rules. Therefore, the success of the first packaging operation after the opening was particularly important. For this reason, Light Rain Media spent a lot of manpower and material resources. Recently, the entire company was busy around the Bionics. Now, they finally saw the preliminary results. Just the funds invested in online media accounted for 70% of the budget. Nowadays, the entertainment industry was incomparably closely connected with the online world. It had become the main battlefield for most stars to promote themselves. It was wishful thinking for newcomers to stand out without spending money to buy a position. Of course, the effect of spending money, to a large extent, depended on the strength. Dong Yu had confidence in the Bionics, or more accurately, in the Bionics' new song, so she decisively released the Bionics first, instead of the North Needle band that was signed earlier. The 2 thin pieces of paper in Su Qingmei's hands bore the weight of her success and failure. The Bionics' lead single, In the Spring, had 115 million views on Yosher's website, with a favorable rating of 93.26%. Tomato Web, 73 million views, 95.2% positive rating. QQ Music, 15.6 million plays, 97. All 5 songs have been listened to by senior people in the industry. As the main song, In the Spring, has the highest evaluation. Sister Na's, I Want to Have a Home, and another song were also very well evaluated. Qin Yanghan's 2 songs were barely qualified. For a mini-album, having 3 good songs is completely enough. What made Su Qingmei depressed is that these 3 songs were all written by Lu Qin, and even the single that the North Needle band is going to release is the same. Thinking of the loss she suffered from Lu Qin, Su Qingmei always felt her teeth itch. Anyway, she knew that she can't be willful on this matter, so she pouted and said, "Then I will talk to him again." At worst, I will give him the best conditions. I don't believe that he won't be tempted. If in the past, Lu Chen's original works have not been verified by the market, there is still the possibility of uncertainty. But now, his talent is unquestionable and even coveted. The key is that Lu Chen has not signed a contract with any company so far. He is like a diamond that fell on the street. If Light Rain Media doesn't think of a way to snatch him back, I'm afraid that there will not be another chance in the future. For the future and development of the company, Su Qingmei can still put down her pride. But Dong Yu is not optimistic, that may not be true. I feel that Lu Chen will not sign with anyone. He will do it alone. How about, she blinked at Su Qingmei and said, you can sacrifice your body for the company. As long as you can seduce this handsome young man, you can do whatever you want. Sister Yu. Su Qingmei's cheeks suddenly turned red and she said angrily, you are the general manager. If you want to sacrifice, you should be the one to sacrifice. Dong Yu said with a smile, I'm an old woman. He doesn't want me. As soon as her voice fell, Su Qingmei rushed over, and her delicate hand went straight to her vital parts. Then I'll take it. Laughter rang out, and the office was full of spring scenery. At this moment, Lu Chen didn't know that he was being remembered and that someone had to sacrifice her body. He just received a call from Tianjai Music Workshop. It was Miss Ni, the business representative of Tianjai Music Workshop, who called Lu Chen. These days, in addition to early exercise, Lu Chen basically stayed at home, except for live broadcasts and sorting out songs. For the 10 songs of his debut album, he spent a lot of energy correcting the details to ensure that all the songs fit perfectly with the works in his memory, and sculpting the lyrics in order to achieve the effect of excellence. In addition, Lu Chen also wrote out the arrangement requirements of 10 songs, so that once a partner is determined, he can quickly enter the production link, saving a lot of time for communication. Most importantly, such work is also a process for Lu Chen to improve himself. He doesn't want to simply write songs according to his memory, and then casually throw them out to make money, becoming a moth lying on a mountain of gold. He hopes to become a well-deserved perfect star through continuous learning, digesting and integrating the spiritual wealth from the dream world. Chapter 83. Mr. Lu Chen, do you have time at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? The voice coming from the other side of the phone was very polite and pleasant, and even gave people a trace of wonderful reverie. Lu Chen didn't think too much. The first thing he thought of was the album he was going to make, so he immediately replied, I have time, Miss Ni. May I ask what it is? Lu Chen didn't expect that the business representative of Tianjai Workshop would take the initiative to call him. He has also been thinking about album production for the past few days. Tianjai Workshop is of course the first choice, but it is not the only choice. Now that the other party is calling to invite him, there should be good news, right? Lu Chen can't be sure. After all, he is still a newcomer in this circle. The more he thinks about it, the more disappointed he will be. Miss Ni chuckled and said, it's a surprise. A director of our Tianjai workshop wants to talk to you in person. We'll meet at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in the coffee shop on the second floor of DeLong building. Please tell him my name when you arrive, okay? Lu Chen, okay, no problem. Surprise. How happy. The director of Tianjai workshop sounds like he has some background. Lu Chen didn't dare to think too much, so the answer would be revealed tomorrow. A dreamless night. Early the next morning, he got up early to exercise as usual. After breakfast, he went home to take a bath and change his clothes. At 9:50 in the morning, Lu Chen arrived at DeLong building ahead of time. DeLong building is a standard commercial office building with a coffee shop and a buffet restaurant on the second floor. When he arrived, he reported Miss Ni's name and was taken to a small box by the window by the waiter. Miss Ni was already there. In addition to her, there were two other people in the box. One was a young man in a suit with a crew cut, and the other was a middle-aged man in his 50s with a square face, dressed casually but full of style. Lu Chen recognized that the latter was wearing a valuable Vacheron Constantin watch, one of the favorite brands of business elites, and he had a little idea in his heart. Seeing Lu Chen come in, Miss Ni and the young man stood up at the same time. Lu Chen apologized, "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for a long time." Miss Ni smiled and said, "We came early, but you are not late. Let me introduce you. This is the director of our Tianjai workshop and the general manager of Juxing Brokerage Company, Mr. Jin Hongwei. Assembly of Stars Management Company. Jin Hongwei." Lu Chen's heart skipped a beat. He immediately extended his hand and said, "Hello, Director Jin. I've heard a lot about you." Lu Chen wasn't just being polite. He really knew the name of this CEO Jin. Juxing Corporation was a famous management company in the entertainment industry. Not only was Jin Hongwei the founder of Juxing Corporation, he was also a big shot in the industry. He had produced many heavenly kings and queens. For example, Tan Hong, whom Lu Chen was most familiar with and loved, was discovered and cultivated by Jin Hongwei. Another example is Heavenly Queen Qin Fei, who signed with Juxing Corporation at the earliest. Lu Chen's impression of Jin Hongwei all comes from the gossip news of the online entertainment industry. There are many good and bad rumors, but in the entertainment management industry, Jin Hongwei is recognized as the top figure. He didn't expect that Jin Hongwei would make an appointment with him today, and he was also one of the directors of Tianjai Workshop. What a surprise! Lu Chen felt a little flattered. Jin Hongwei's reputation for having sharp eyes and being good at digging up fresh talents is extremely resounding. Being fancied by him is undoubtedly the dream of those newcomers who want to step into the entertainment industry. It wasn't until Lu Chen extended his hand that Jin Hongwei stood up unhurriedly, shook hands with him and said, "Well, Lu Chen, I heard your name half a month ago. You are a very talented young man." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Thank you for your compliment, Director Jin. It's not a compliment, it's a fact." Jin Hongwei released his hand and said, "I've listened to the 3 songs you wrote for the Bionics. They were written very well. With your talent, you shouldn't be like this. You should stand on the real stage, to become a big star in the limelight. I believe you have such strength." His words were not very impassioned, but they were plain and firm, full of bewitching power. Lu Chen could only smile. Jin Hongwei's evaluation was so high that he didn't know how to answer. "I'm very optimistic about you." Jin Hongwei motioned Lu Chen to sit down and talk, and Miss Ni personally poured him tea. After a few casual chats, Jin Hongwei reached out to the young man next to him. The young man, Jin Hongwei's assistant, hurriedly took out a contract from the briefcase he carried with him. Jin Hongwei took it in his hand and said meaningfully, "Lu Chen, I know you want to release a solo album recently. Are you having trouble with funds? This is very simple. Our company will help you solve it. It will be customized according to the highest standard specifications, and," after a pause, he continued, "in a few days, the 2nd season of Shonan TV's Super Singer will hold an audition. Our company has cooperation with them. How about recommending you to participate? At least guarantee that you will be in the top 3. The industry big shot put the contract in front of Lu Chen and said, "You just have to sign it." Jin Hongwei's voice was full of confidence. He obviously didn't think Lu Chen would refuse. Miss Ni said with a smile, "Congratulations, Mr. Lu Chen. The highest standard of album customization, the top 3 of Super Singer, the support of Juxing Corporation. Of course, there is also the favor of this big shot in the entertainment industry. For any newcomer, this was simply a dream come true." Lu Chen looked at the contract placed in front of him, and the fame and benefits he longed for seemed to be within reach. It's just that everything came too fast. He wasn't mentally prepared yet. However, at this time, Lu Chen didn't get carried away. Instead, he calmed down. There's no such thing as a pie falling from the sky. Juxing Corporation and Jin Hongwei are not living Lei Feng. How much they pay, they must earn it back in double. Does this contract really want to sign? Lu Chen couldn't help but think of the news on the internet. Tan Hong and Chen Feier, cultivated by Jin Hongwei, eventually fell out with him and fought a lawsuit. Both of them once denounced Juxing Corporation's domineering and harsh contract. Although the rumors on the internet may not be true, and creating public opinion must occupy the moral high ground, there must be a reason for groundless rumors. Jin Hongwei's evaluation in the industry is not perfect. The contract in front of him reminded Lu Chen of some unpleasant past. His determination, which had just been shaken, became firm again. Mr. Jin, thank you for your kindness. Lu Chen didn't look at the contract, but raised his head and said to Jin Hongwei, but I'm not going to sign a contract with any company, so please forgive me. Lu Chen is not confident that he is stronger than Tan Hong and Chen Feier. Jin Hongwei has given him such a high treatment. This contract must be very strict and even harsh. In all likelihood, it's a contract to sell himself. In order to prevent others from thinking that he is putting on airs before becoming famous, Lu Chen directly rejected it and clearly expressed his attitude and thoughts. For Jin Hongwei, Lu Chen's rejection was completely out of his expectations. Why did you reject it? How can I reject it? How dare I reject it? Jin Hongwei's shock was directly expressed on his face. Even with his deep and profound character, he also lost his composure. Jin Hongwei has been in the entertainment industry for 30 years. He started off as a small agent's assistant. Until now, what he is most proud of is that he can sign anyone he wants to sign. Basically, there is no one he can't sign. Back then, Tan Hong was so difficult to deal with, but he was also settled by him. Back then, Chen Feier was so arrogant, but didn't he still sign his name on the contract? Lu Chen is just a newcomer who hasn't officially debuted yet, but he actually ignored the generous conditions he put forward. He didn't even look at the contract and rejected it. It is simply a slap in the face. His assistant and Miss Ni were also stunned. They looked at Lu Chen with disbelief. A golden road to fame is paved under his feet, but Lu Chen is actually unwilling to step on it. Is he crazy or stupid? After all, Jin Hongwei is not an ordinary person. His face changed for a moment and quickly calmed down. He asked, Lu Chen, do you have any difficulties? Can you tell me? Lu Chen didn't know what the other person was thinking. He felt very embarrassed and explained, Mr. Jin, I'm really sorry. I just don't like to be bound. I originally planned to open a personal studio, so, I understand. Jin Hongwei nodded and said, then I can understand. I'm really sorry. I hope there will be opportunities for cooperation in the future. Lu Chen said happily, thank you. Now that he has refused, he couldn't stay any longer, so he got up and left. Jin Hongwei didn't ask him to stay, but finally said, Lu Chen, your talent should not be buried. Go and participate in the Super Singer. I'm very optimistic about you. After Lu Chen left, the face of the big shot in the industry suddenly sank. Even the temperature in the box dropped a lot. Chapter 84. Shonen TV is the overlord of variety shows on domestic family TV screens. Its daily variety shows, Happy Big Family, Celebrity Duo, Everyday Life Show, and other programs have high ratings and have been superior to their peers for many years. Since 2008, Shonen TV has also launched Supergirl, Superboy, National New Idol, and other popular talent competitions, which have achieved great success. They have launched a number of well-known idol stars, and attracted other major satellite TV stations to compete to imitate them, setting off waves of national entertainment. Although Lu Chen doesn't watch much TV programs, he is still familiar with the name of Shonan TV. So when he got home, he searched for Shonan TV and Super Singer on the internet as soon as he got home. As a result, there was a surprising discovery. Super Singer is a singing talent competition launched by Xiangnan Satellite TV last year. With its high professionalism and fierce competitiveness, it won the season's variety ratings champion. Tian, Super Singer and Fan Meilin, who finally won the championship of Super Singer, is now a domestic A-list star and one of the leading Huadan of Qingtian Entertainment. She just released her first album not long ago. Lu Chen learned about the rules and process of the talent competition of Super Singer in detail, and watched many episodes of the first season. He felt that this talent competition was really suitable for him, and it was undoubtedly a shortcut to fame. With so many original works in his hands, he will surely be able to shine in Super Singer. Even if he can't win the championship, with the help of the super high ratings of Super Singer, Lu Chen can also promote himself well, which will be of great help to his future development. The audition for Super Singer will begin on June 20th, that is, the day after tomorrow. He doesn't need to go all the way to Xiangnan to sign up for the competition, because there is a branch venue in Beijing. If it weren't for Jin Hongwei's reminder today, Lu Chen might have missed this opportunity. But after the excitement, recalling the process of meeting with the industry's big shot, Lu Chen always felt that something was wrong. It was too simple. Jin Hongwei proposed generous terms and took out the contract that he had prepared. After being rejected on the spot, the other party did not have any intense reaction other than being surprised. He did not even try to persuade Jin Hongwei anymore and left peacefully. This Jin Hongwei didn't seem to be the same as Lu Chen's impression of the godfather of entertainment management. Of course, Lu Chen's impression of him came entirely from the internet. There must be something wrong with him. He did not know him at all. Lu Chen thought about it and felt a little uneasy, so he called Chen Jinhao. Before Chen Jinhao opened the bar, he was also an insider. Perhaps he had dealt with Jin Hongwei before and knew him better. Xiao Lu. Chen Jinhao sounded tired, as if he had just woken up. Why are you looking for me? Lu Chen told him about Jin Hongwei looking for him to sign a contract today. Chen Jinhao listened quietly and then sneered, Xiao Lu, do you know what Jin Hongwei's nickname is in the circle? Lu Chen asked, what nickname? His nickname is Golden Tortoise, Chen Jinhao said slowly, the shell looks beautiful and attractive. If you want to touch him and get some light, you will be bitten by him. He won't let go until he bites off a piece of flesh and blood. Daqin and Sister Na's album was produced in Tianzhai Workshop, and you are the songwriter. Jin Hongwei's vision is still very good. He knows that you are alone now. Of course, he wants to bite you in his mouth. Lu Chen was cold and speechless. But he could hear that Chen Jinhao was extremely disgusted with this big shot in the industry. Chen Jinhao continued, so it's very right that you don't sign the contract. It's not easy to take advantage of Jin Hongwei. The better the conditions he offers now, the harder he will squeeze you in the future, and there are many means to make you unable to get out. I used to know a young man, as talented as you, who was signed by Jin Hongwei. Do you know where this young man is now? Without waiting for Lu Chen to ask, Chen Jinhao revealed the answer himself. He is in a drug rehabilitation center, and his whole person has been ruined. Do you know how he got addicted to drugs? This circle is too dark and deep. It's good for you to work alone. Although it may be very hard and tiring, at least you have the freedom of choice. Lu Chen nodded and said, I understand, boss. Thank you for reminding me. Fortunately, he called Chen Jinhao. Otherwise, he really didn't know about Jin Hongwei's dark side, and thought that the other party was very good. This kind of person should be kept at a respectful distance, is the best choice. Chen Jinhao seemed to be fully awake and asked, "Are you going to participate in the Super Singer?" Lu Chen said, "Boss, how do you know? Don't call me boss anymore. It's annoying to hear." Chen Jinhao said with dissatisfaction, "You are not a waiter and forget worries bar now. Just call me brother." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Brother Kenho." Chen Jinhao was satisfied, and then explained, "You are very suitable to participate in the Super Singer competition, but you should know that it doesn't mean that you have talent and ability, you can stand out in such a popular program." The last champion, Fan Meilin, signed Qingtian Entertainment before participating in the competition, so people will support her, understand? Lu Chen said with a wry smile, "I understand." His biggest problem is that he is fighting alone, and he can't compare with others with a strong background. There are rules in the entertainment industry. Whether it is the hidden rules or the clear rules, if you want to get more, you have to pay more first. Qingtian Entertainment is a partner of Shonen TV, and also participates in the production process of Super Singer. Therefore, this entertainment company has a lot of say in Super Singer. Jin Hongwei has a wide network in Shonan TV. Juxing Corporation and Qingtian Entertainment have long-term business dealings. It is said that the two sides hold shares in each other. You refused Jin Hongwei, and still want to participate in the Super Singer. Lu Chen really understood, "Then I won't go. Society is too terrible." For the time being, he will honestly make money by live broadcasting, and then make an album. No. What Lu Chen didn't expect was that Chen Jinhao said, "I support you to sign up for the audition and bring your best work there. It doesn't matter if you can't pass." On the 25th, Beijing Television's Singing China audition registration. I'll help you get a recommendation letter so that you can directly participate in the live audition. Whether it is Super Singer or other talent shows, the audition process is divided into two parts. The first is the public primary election, that is, the first screening of the registered contestants, and those who are completely unreliable are eliminated. Basically, the first stage is to filter out more than 90% of the contestants, and then the live audition. However, sometimes, in order to achieve the effect of the program, the organizer will deliberately omit some strange contestants to enter the live audition, entertain hundreds of millions of TV viewers, and at the same time hype. If you want to attract attention, don't care too much about integrity. Beijing Television is not as good as Shonan TV, but it's not so complicated, and it's suitable for you to participate. Chen Jinhao finally said, "I'd like to see you eliminated by Super Singer. It must be interesting." Ha ha ha. He laughed. Lu Chen asked, "Brother Kenho, do you have a grudge against Jin Hongwei?" Chen Jinhao's laughter stopped abruptly. After a long time, he said, "The young man I just told you, he used to call me boss. I've always regretted that I couldn't stop him from signing to Juxing Corporation at that time. Fortunately, I can persuade you now." Lu Chen was silent. After ending the call with Chen Jinhao, Lu Chen thought for a moment. He opened the registration address of Super Singer that he found on the internet and filled out a registration form according to the prompts on the web page. Super Singer supports online registration, and after completion, you can directly participate in the audition preliminary test. On June 20th. When Lu Chen finished filling out the registration form and confirmed that it was sent, another 2 minutes passed. In a luxury box on the upper floor of the resplendent bar in Sanlitun, Beijing, Jin Hongwei, who was lying on the sofa and tasting red wine, suddenly looked as if he was awakened from deep thought. He put down his glass and took out his cell phone from his pocket. Opening the text message he had just received and reading it, the industry's big shot showed a smug smile. It's like a hunter who sees his prey fall into a trap. Chapter 85. June 20th. Cloudy. Air index, good. At 9 a.m., the Capitol Stadium in Beijing was decorated with lanterns and streamers. The registration and preliminary test for the second season of Shonan TV, Super Singer, in Beijing Division were launched at the same time. Hundreds of tents have been set up in the gymnasium. All the tarpaulins have been customized to represent the orange color of Xiangnan Satellite TV. The black and white logo of Super Singer is printed on it, which is particularly eye-catching. Above the surrounding auditorium, huge advertisements are spray-painted everywhere, with the word "rich" clearly written on it. As the hegemon of domestic satellite TV variety, Shonan TV's advertising revenue is catching up with CTV, and it surpasses the latter in terms of capital utilization. It's really not short of money, but it also dares to come to the capital to set up a stage. When Lu Chen arrived at the Capitol Stadium, there were at least tens of thousands of people gathered inside. Because of worries about traffic jams on the road, Lu Chen came by subway. There were many audition singers like him who were carrying guitars on their backs, and some of them were much younger than him. When he arrived at the stadium, he realized that it was a real sea of people. If it weren't for a large number of staff wearing yellow vests to guide the crowd, Lu Chen wouldn't have been able to find a place to participate in the preliminary test. The on-site registration for Super Singer, Beijing Division was only for 1 day, and online registration had already begun. After Lu Chen completed the online registration, he was lucky to be assigned to the first day of the preliminary test. The time for the preliminary test of the audition is 3 days. And after the end of the audition, there will be an official live broadcast of the audition on the 25th. Lu Chen's contestant number is 17,690, which means that more than 10,000 people have signed up before him. In addition to the number of people who signed up in the next few days and on the spot, it is estimated that there are at least 30,000 to 40,000, or even 40,000 to 50,000. This number is quite exaggerated. It should be known that this is only the number of people who signed up for the Beijing Division, and Super Singer has higher requirements for the talent contestants. They must be able to sing and write songs, and at least have a certain level of music literacy, otherwise they will be a laughingstock. But on the other hand, only in Beijing can there be such a grand occasion. Because Beijing has gathered countless Beijing drifting singers, plus the 3 major music academies and numerous music training institutions, big and small entertainment and media companies. It's really normal for people to have a lot of people. According to the contestants' number, Lu Chen was assigned to the 19th preliminary contestant. The so-called preliminary test was actually a big tent. The contestants would enter in order to perform. If they passed, they could enter the live auditions on the 25th. If they didn't pass, they would be directly eliminated. Shonan TV was well prepared. Although there were many contestants waiting for their turn, everything was in good order. There was an awning outside the preliminary area, and there were plastic chairs for the contestants to rest on. There was also free mineral water. There were at least 100 or 200 contestants sitting together with Lu Chen. Some of the contestants had even brought their entire families. For example, there was a little girl to the left of Lu Chen. She looked to be about 14 or 15 years old and was dressed like a princess. She was surrounded by her parents and grandparents, serving her like an empress dowager. The little girl was very arrogant, holding a pink guitar in her arms. Probably noticing Lu Chen's gaze, she turned her head and rolled her eyes at Lu Chen big. Her mouth was so pouting that one could hang a milk bottle. Lu Chen couldn't help shaking his head. He stood up and said to the little girl's grandmother, "Old lady, this seat is for you. Take care of yourself." The seats in the waiting area were all for the contestants. There were no relatives or friends. Lu Chen saw that it was really hard for the old lady to stand, so he took the initiative to give his seat to her. The old lady and the little girl's parents, who were surprised, thanked him repeatedly. Lu Chen smiled and stood to the side. What was interesting was that the little girl's eyes suddenly turned red, and large drops of crystal-clear tears fell down, startling everyone in the family. The next moment, she jumped down from her seat, pulled her grandfather and said, "Grandpa, sit." Her grandfather hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Grandpa, sit. Xiaoqi, sit." The little ancestor immediately lost her temper. "If I ask you to sit, then sit. If you don't sit, I'm going home. I don't want to play anymore." Her grandfather had to sit down. The little girl was satisfied. Then she looked at Lu Chen provocatively. Lu Chen smiled and gave her a thumbs up. The little girl didn't buy it. She snorted and turned her head away from him. Time passed little by little. The clouds in the sky dispersed and the sun came out. The hot sun shone in the open-air stadium. The temperature kept rising, and the air was filled with an anxious atmosphere. Lu Chen was a little dizzy from waiting. He drank 2 bottles of mineral water. "Contestants 17688 and 17689, please come and get ready." At this time, a staff member came out of the preliminary tent on the 19th and said loudly with a loudspeaker in his hand, "Contestants 17688 and 17689, please come in and get ready." Immediately, 2 singers stood up and followed the staff into the big tent. Lu Chen suddenly felt refreshed. After sitting there for more than 2 hours, it was finally his turn. The organizers were still very efficient. As the preliminary tent, there were entrances and exits on the left and right sides. The contestants who lined up here went in, and there were people coming out on the other side. There were also newcomers entering the waiting area outside the venue. The one who just came out was a girl in a white dress. She was crying so hard that even the makeup on her face was ruined. She ran out of the venue regardless. It was estimated that she was ruthlessly eliminated in the first round. The contestants in the waiting area were used to it. There were tens of thousands of people who participated in the preliminary audition, and at least 90% were eliminated in the first round. The competition in this kind of popular talent show was actually very cruel. No matter how much effort they put in at the beginning or how much praise they received, there was still the possibility of being eliminated at any later stage. Shonan TV's talent show had always been very controversial, but it couldn't stop their high ratings. Therefore, as contestants, they had to be mentally prepared to accept failure. In contrast, Lu Chen's mentality was much more relaxed. He was happy to succeed, and it didn't matter if he failed. He mainly came to warm up and familiarize himself with the process and atmosphere of the talent show. If Qin Jinhao's judgment was right. After about 5 minutes, 2 more contestants came out, and then the staff appeared. Contestants 17690 and 17691, please come and get ready. Lu Chen hurriedly walked over with his guitar. It was also a bit of a coincidence that contestant 17691, who was following him, was the arrogant little girl. Her group of relatives and friends wanted to follow in, but they were stopped by the staff. Family members are not allowed to enter. Lu Chen looked back and saw that they were very anxious around the entrance. He said, "You don't have to worry. I will help take care of this little sister. She will be out soon." It was probably because Lu Chen's previous action of giving up his seat made the little girl's family feel good, so they reluctantly felt relieved. The little girl snorted and said, "I don't want you to take care of me. I'm not your little sister." Lu Chen ignored her and looked curiously at the situation in the preliminary area. His current position should be regarded as backstage, but the area was very small. There were 2 singers waiting to go on stage in front of him. Sitting here, he could clearly hear the singing on the stage inside and the judges' comments. When he came in, a contestant had just finished singing. He heard the judge say, "There are 2 passages that are well written and sung. Pass." Another judge said, "Well, I agree." The third judge said, "Pass." It was very fast, without any sloppiness. There were 3 judges in the preliminary test, and 2 of them passed. The contestants only had a little more than a minute to go on stage, so they couldn't sing longer. If the judges felt that something was wrong, they would be interrupted after a few words and then eliminated. The 2 singers in front of Lu Qin were eliminated. Contestant 17690. Hearing his number, Lu Qin calmly picked up his guitar and walked in. The layout inside was very simple. 3 judges, 2 men and 1 woman, were sitting behind a long table. There was a folding chair in the open space in front of them. There was not even a microphone, but a small digital camera was next to it. As soon as Lu Qin stood still, the female judge said, "Let's begin." She must have said the same words many times, but it sounded weak. Lu Qin bowed slightly as a salute, and then skillfully plucked the strings and began to play. He was playing "You Who Sat Next to Me." Chapter 86. Will you remember tomorrow, what you wrote in the diary yesterday? Will you still think about tomorrow, once, stop? An original song, "You Who Sat Next to Me." Lu Qin had just sung the first few words when he was interrupted by the female judge. The 30-year-old judge, who was still attractive, said with a smile, "Yes, I'll pass you." She turned to look at the other 2 judges and said, "What do you think?" Both judges nodded and said, "Pass." The female judge smiled at Lu Qin and said, "Congratulations, you can participate in the official audition. Come on." Lu Qin was stunned at first, and then quickly reacted. He bowed and said, "Thank you, 3 teachers." It took him less than half a minute to go on stage, and he passed just like that. That's too fast. In fact, Lu Qin underestimated his strength. His strength is not only his original work and singing skills, but also his external conditions. Simply put, it is his appearance. With a height of 180 plus, handsome appearance, and a good and healthy physique, he will not be easily eliminated in the preliminary audition of any popular talent show, The Privilege of a Handsome Man. Therefore, as long as Lu Qin can play and sing, the 3 judges will not care about his original work and directly pass him. This is an era of appearance, and Lu Qin belongs to this era. After he left the stage, a staff member sent him a plastic-sealed color-printed card paper, with the logo of Super Singer printed on the front and his new audition number, 0580. As for the reverse side of the card, against the background of the blue starry sky, there are 2 big golden characters, "Promotion," printed. It's a very beautiful card. Even if you can't pass the next round, it can be collected as a souvenir. Lu Qin did not rush to leave the big tent, but waited for the little girl behind him to go on stage. The little girl 17,691 performed very well and played the guitar well, so she quickly got the promotion card. When she came down and saw Lu Qin, she raised her round little chin proudly. Lu Qin laughed involuntarily and accompanied her out of the preliminary testing area. The little girl's family had been waiting outside for a long time. When they saw her proudly waving the promotion card in her hand, they all cried out in excitement, wishing that they could immediately announce it to the world with great fanfare. Lu Qin thought it was quite interesting. He silently gave his blessing and then left the stadium. That night, he received a call from Chen Jinhao. The other party simply inquired about Lu Qin's process of participating in the preliminary audition during the day and his advancement number, but did not say anything else. Lu Qin felt that his former boss seemed to be hiding something or planning something. However, everyone had their own privacy, and there was no need for him to delve into it. 5 days were neither short nor long. Time flew by in the midst of the busy work. June 25th, sunny, Super Singer, official audition. The location of the official audition was still in the Capital Grand Stadium, but it was moved from the open-air football field to the indoor basketball court. The scale has been reduced a lot, but the specifications have been improved a lot. After the elimination of the preliminary audition, although the singers who advanced to the official audition were less than 1 in 10, they could not all be selected in just 1 or 2 days. Lu Chen's luck was still there, and he was still arranged on the first day. The basketball court was divided into 2 by the organizers, forming 2 live audition stages in the north and south. Many staff members wearing Shonan TV uniforms were busy, and more than 10 cameras were set up inside and outside. It was said to be a live broadcast, but in fact, it was a recorded broadcast. The audition process would be broadcast on the internet and TV after post-editing. The content of the live broadcast was also available, but it was all live interviews and the like. Therefore, most of the audition contestants will not appear on the screen unless they advance to the first round of the official competition. The contestants sat in the auditorium of the basketball court according to their respective promotion number, and they still entered by calling the number. Lu Chen estimated that there were about 300 or 400 competitors on the first day. Then, it was a long wait. Many contestants are very experienced. They gathered together in 2s and 3s, chatted about music, encouraged each other to relax, and practiced playing and singing repeatedly on the spot, but most of them only practiced in fragments. At noon, the staff delivered lunch boxes. Although it was only fast food, the content was quite rich. Beef, shrimp, eggs, and fresh vegetables were by no means the kind of cheap goods that cost 10 or 20 yuan. The taste was quite good. Lu Chen didn't eat until he was half full. It wasn't that he wasted food, but that it was not good for singing when he was full. At about 1:00 in the afternoon, Lu Chen finally heard the staff calling his number. 0580. Under the guidance of the staff, he quickly came to the preparatory backstage, and after another 2 minutes, he officially appeared. The number of judges for the official audition increased to 4. 2 men and 2 women were not unknown people. Lu Chen recognized at least 2 of them. He had a little impression of the names of the other 2, but he was not familiar with them. The layout of the venue was very luxurious. There were 4 cameras in the front, back, left, and right. In addition to the 4 judges, there were as many as 7 or 8 staff members on the scene. Even if there was no audience, the atmosphere was completely different from the preliminary. In the face of the 4 cameras and the 4 judges, Lu Chen did not have stage fright. He said calmly, "Hello, judges and teachers. I am contestant 0580, Lu Chen, from Zhejiang." Even if he had not eaten pork, he had seen pigs running. Lu Chen had watched a lot of talent shows on the internet in the past few days. He already had a good understanding of the audition, so he introduced himself properly after he went on stage. "Today, I will bring you this song called, 'You Who Sat Next to Me.' Please give me some pointers." A female judge smiled and said, "Then let's get started. You have 2 minutes to sing well." Lu Chen knew this judge. She was Luya, a well-known female singer in China. She was good at singing love songs. She should be in her 30s or 40s this year, but she looked more like a person in her 20s, full of mature and beautiful charm. Lu Chen nodded and began to play and sing with the guitar in his arms. "Tomorrow, will you remember that you wrote in the diary yesterday, beep?" After playing a simple prelude, he had just opened his mouth to sing 2 lines when a harsh chirp suddenly sounded. A striking red light lit up in front of one of the judges' table. According to the rules of the audition, this meant that the judge did not approve of Lu Chen's singing and would not advance to the next round. Luya looked at the other party in surprise. This judge was Zhang Xiaoan, a variety show host of Shonan TV. He was very famous in the industry. It was somewhat unusual for him to reject Lu Chen so quickly. Lu Chen had no problem in playing the guitar. In fact, he was quite skilled and excellent. The melody of the work was also quite good. Why was the red light lit up after only 2 lines? Zhang Xiaoan was expressionless, as if he did not notice Lu Ya's gaze at all. Lu Chen raised his eyebrows. It would be a lie to say that he was not affected by the red light that suddenly lit up. However, he was not a newcomer after all, so he continued to play and sing smoothly. Tomorrow, will you still remember that you used to love to cry the most? Beep. The second red light lit up. This time, it was another female judge, Jenny Chan, who had returned to China from overseas in recent years. She was a female singer and musician who had returned to China from overseas in recent years. She was currently very popular in the pop music industry. She didn't seem to like the style of Lu Chen's work. She frowned and looked very impatient. According to the rules, if 3 red lights were lit up among the 4 judges, the contestant would be directly eliminated. Lu Chen, who had been lit up with 2 red lights, was completely calm. He played and sang half of the song, "You Who Sat Next to Me." "Thank you." He bowed to the judges with his guitar in his arms. Even if there were 2 red lights in front, Lu Chen's interpretation of the song was still perfect, without any shortcomings. Zhang Xiaoan said lightly, "The style is too old, and the melody is also average. I have to continue to work hard." Jenny Chan commented, "You played the guitar well, but we chose the best singer, so I can only say sorry. I hope you will work hard next time." The implication was that Lu Chen's song was not good. Luya smiled and said, "Lu Chen, I think your work is very good." Beep. Before she finished speaking, the 4th judge sitting on the far left pressed the red light. 3 red lights, out. Chapter 87. Luya's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of anger that was almost undetectable. She had been in the industry for more than 10 years. Although she was not among the top stars in the circle, she used to be a first-line singer. Even if she was a little outdated now, when had she been interrupted so rudely before she finished speaking? The judge who interrupted her was called Zhuang Hao, an editor and music critic of the fashion magazine, Beauty. In terms of fame in the circle, Luya was at least 3 streets ahead of him. However, Luya did not directly express her anger, because when Jenny Chan flashed the red light, she felt that something was wrong. It seemed that the contestant named Lu Chen was deliberately targeted. Having been in the entertainment circle for so many years, Luya had always been clean. At the same time, she was also very clear about how deep the water in this circle was. She had seen a lot of darkness and filth hidden under the bright and beautiful appearance. So, she instinctively kept silent. Those who cried out for injustice could not stand in this circle. Zhuang Hao did not look at Luya, but just stared at Lu Chen and said, "I agree with Zhang Xiaoan's opinion. The style of your song is too old-fashioned, and the melody is familiar. It lacks enough originality and is too amateur, so it cannot be passed." His voice was very calm, dry as if he was narrating a boring report, but there was a faint disdain and ridicule in his words, which made people feel embarrassed. However, to the 4 judges' surprise, including Luya, Lu Chen was neither embarrassed nor angry after listening to it, nor did he defend or protest, or beg for another chance like many young singers who were eliminated. He nodded and said politely, "Thank you for your comments, 4 judges, what a pity." There was a trace of pity in Luya's heart. In her opinion, Lu Chen was very good and should not be suppressed. That's right, the word "suppressed" was almost written on Zhuang Hao's face. She had no idea who Lu Chen had offended. The next moment, Lu Chen straightened up, looked straight at Zhuang Hao and said, "But I don't agree with your opinion, Mr. Zhuang Hao. This song of mine has been registered in the Greater China Music Library long ago. There is no plagiarism or imitation. Besides, someone offered 100,000 yuan to buy it." He smiled confidently. "But I didn't sell it." What was face-slapping? This was face-slapping right in front of their faces. Didn't Zhuang Hao comment on "You Who Sat Next to Me" as having a familiar melody and lack of originality? Then Lu Chen told him that this song was registered in the Greater China Music Library. Are you more authoritative than the Greater China Music Library? It was also true that someone offered 100,000 yuan for it. Of course, Lu Chen did not sell it. He kept this classic for himself. Too old-fashioned and amateurish. Is the person who paid for it an idiot? Zhuang Hao's face turned red in an instant. This is not the first time that Zhuang Hao has served as a judge of Super Singer. He is used to evaluating the contestants from a high position. Although he has seen many unruly guys, it is the first time that he has been slapped in the face in such a targeted manner. No matter how thick his face is, he can't withstand a heavy slap. In addition to Zhuang Hao, Zhang Xiaoan and Jenny Chan also felt that their face had been peeled off by Lu Chen. Lu Chen didn't give them a chance to fight back. He nodded to Lu Ye, and then left the stage freely. Among the 4 judges, he only had a little affection for Lu Ye. Snap! Zhuang Hao slammed the pen in his hand on the table and scolded angrily. Young people nowadays are getting more and more impolite and not modest at all. It's no wonder that the atmosphere in the pop music world is getting worse and worse. What the hell? Zhang Xiaoan said with a sullen face. Yes, so we should be stricter. Those with bad conduct should be eliminated. Otherwise, Shonan TV will lose face in front of the whole country. Jenny Chan picked up her notebook as a fan and fanned herself hard. She sneered, with such a temper, it's no wonder that someone wants to teach him a lesson. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He will cry in the future. Zhuang Hao and Zhang Xiaoan turned their heads to look at her at the same time, with a strange look. How can such a thing be said? Lu Ye suddenly understood and was not surprised. Jenny Chan didn't care about their strange looks. So what if there were 4 cameras on the scene? This video is 100% going to be cut, and no one will care about a little new singer. The audition of Super Producer continued. Lu Chen walked out of the Capital Stadium. The afternoon sun shone on his face, which was still hot. He took a long breath and exhaled resentment. Although such a result was expected by Lu Chen, he did not have a trace of fantasy in his heart. Maybe Qin Jinhao was biased against Jin Hongwei, and thus lost his accurate judgment. And the bloody reality taught him a lesson. Don't think you're so great. In the eyes of some people, you're just a chess piece that can be manipulated at will. Lu Chen couldn't help clenching his fists. He became more and more determined to take the path he wanted to take. His cell phone rang. Lu Chen picked it up. Lu Chen, I just heard a sad news. You didn't pass the audition of Super Singer, ? Jin Hongwei's voice came from the other side of the phone, and his tone was very regretful. Lu Chen said, yes, thank you for your concern, Mr. Jin. When he answered, there was a smile on his face, a sarcastic smile, sure enough. Jin Hongwei couldn't see Lu Chen's look and continued, it doesn't matter. It's not terrible for young people to fail once. The door of our Juxing Corporation is always open for you. We can provide you with a direct ticket to advance to the knockout stage. In addition, I have arranged a dinner party in the evening. Invite the 2 judges to come over and sit down. You can apologize to them. I think, beep. Beep. Before he finished speaking, the call was cut off. Jin Hongwei was stunned and quickly dialed Lu Chen's cell phone number again. The answer he got was, Dear user, the cell phone you dialed is not in the service area, shit. Jin Hongwei finally understood, and in a fit of rage, he threw his phone away. This notification meant that Lu Chen had blacklisted his number and didn't want to talk to him anymore. In other words, Jin Hongwei's efforts to stir up trouble were all in vain. Lu Chen didn't buy it at all. Jin Hongwei had never met such a rookie who did not know how to appreciate favors and was unmoved by force or persuasion. His lungs were about to explode from anger. And Lu Chen didn't care what the other person's reaction was. As the saying goes, one can be strong without desire. He didn't want anything from Jin Hongwei. If he had to swallow the humiliation and bow his head after being schemed against, he might as well buy a piece of tofu and kill himself. Get out of here. After blacklisting Jin Hongwei's number, Lu Chen felt refreshed and his mind was clear. But after 3 seconds, his phone rang again. This time, it was Chen Jinhao who called. This made Lu Chen suspect that he and Jin Hongwei had discussed it. Of course, this was a joke. Lu Chen immediately picked up. Brother Kenho. Chen Jinhao laughed and said, "Was Jin Hongwei calling you just now?" Lu Chen was surprised. "How did you know?" Chen Jinhao sneered and said, "With his character, I can guess what he said to you. Did he want you to sign a contract with Juxing Corporation and guarantee that you can be promoted to the strongest producer? Did he want you to apologize to the judges?" Lu Chen was completely speechless. Chen Jinhao was right. Chen Jinhao, ha ha ha, you're really good. You haven't even mixed into the entertainment industry, but you've already offended a few people in the circle. I heard that Zhuang Hao's face was almost swollen by you, and he scolded you. Lu Chen said with a wry smile, "I was impulsive." "What's impulsive?" Chen Jinhao said with a smile, "You played very well. That grandson just needs a beating. Anyway, you don't have to worry about this anymore. Concentrate on preparing for the live audition of Singing China on July 3rd and the qualifying round on July 10th. Chen Jinhao asked Lu Chen for a direct audition card for Beijing Television's Singing China, so he didn't need to participate in the preliminary audition held in the Capital Workers' Stadium today, and directly entered the official audition. Chen Jinhao also believed that Lu Chen could easily pass the audition and advance to the qualifying round. But you have to remember what happened today. This is your first lesson in the entertainment industry. I think you should have learned a lot. Work hard, young man." Chapter 88. The long subway rumbled as it sped along the track. Lu Chen held the guitar in the guitar case and sat near the door. During non-rush hours, the subway in Beijing was not crowded, so there were still a lot of empty seats. He didn't have to worry about being squeezed out of his shoes, nor did he have to worry about getting pregnant. He accidentally raised his head and saw a girl on the opposite right side pointing her mobile phone at him. Lu Chen smiled at her and knew that the other party was taking pictures. Seeing that her behavior of secretly taking pictures was discovered by Lu Chen, the girl's face suddenly became flushed. She quickly put away her mobile phone, turned her head, and pretended to talk to her companion. And her companion whispered to her with a smile, urging her to ask Lu Chen for his contact information. But the girl was shy and didn't dare. Lu Chen's mood couldn't help but be a lot more cheerful. Today, he had just been taught a life lesson. Even if he was open-minded and optimistic, he couldn't help but feel a little depressed. At this time, the mobile phone in his pocket vibrated. Lu Chen took out his mobile phone and opened it. It was Yi Zi who sent him a message, "Are you there?" A pretty face suddenly appeared in Lu Chen's mind. His heart moved and he replied, "Yes." Yi Zi was Yi Zidong. After buying the computer, the two didn't see each other again. They only chatted a few times on QQ and Feixin. Lu Chen could feel that Yi Zidong had a good impression of him, but the relationship between the two was a little faint. He knew that Yi Zidong was a good girl, and it was because of this that he didn't deliberately take the initiative to pursue anything. Although Lu Chen has not yet reached such a state, perhaps because he has experienced lovelorn and bitter love, and experienced 3 long lives in his dream, his attitude towards feelings is to let nature take its course. Not demanding, not forcing, not greedy. However, at this time, the message sent by Yi Zidong inadvertently touched his heartstrings. "Yi Zidong, are you free tonight? There's a new skating rink near our school. I heard it's quite fun." Lu Chen quickly replied, then let's go together tonight. I haven't skated in a long time. I'll come over to find you at 5 o'clock and invite you to have dinner together. How about that? Yi Zitong, seeing that you are so sincere, I will reluctantly agree. Big smiley face symbol was added at the back. See you at 5. Lu Chen couldn't help but smile, and the knot in his heart completely disappeared without a trace. The girl had already taken the initiative to ask him out, and it was a girl that he had a good impression of. If he still pretended to be reserved, then he would simply be a fool. Just as he put away his phone, he arrived at his destination. He picked up his guitar and left. The girl sitting across from him didn't ask for his contact information. Back home, Lu Chen first stored his guitar, then calculated the time to go to Beijing Normal University to keep the appointment. At 5 o'clock, Lu Chen arrived at the gate of Beijing Normal University. In summer, the days were long and the nights were short. At 5 o'clock in the evening, the sky was still very bright. There were many students going in and out of the gate of Beijing Normal University, and there were also many boys waiting at the gate like Lu Chen. Some of them were even holding delicate roses in their hands. Looking at his empty hands, Lu Chen was very ashamed. Just as he was hesitating whether to go to a nearby flower shop to buy a flower, Yi Zitong gracefully came out of the campus. This beautiful girl was still wearing her favorite white dress, revealing her pink neck, jade arms, and a pair of white and well-proportioned calves. She obviously dressed herself up carefully and put on some light makeup. Her bright eyes and white teeth were even more attractive. When she appeared in front of Lu Chen couldn't help but feel amazed and a little stunned. Under his gaze, Yi Zitong's pretty face showed a touch of shyness and she asked, "What's wrong?" Lu Chen came to his senses and quickly said, "Let's go." Yi Zitong nodded gently. The two of them walked together. The man was tall and handsome, and the woman was beautiful and gentle. Along the way, they instantly caused tons of damage to the single people nearby. In the wind, a man's desperate cry came faintly, "What the F***ck, the campus bell has been taken away." Lu Chen couldn't help but ask, "Won't Swashington go?" He thought that it would be Yi Zitong and Swashington together that night. The result was a surprise. Yi Zitong tilted her head, reached out to lift a few loose black hair, and asked, "Do you want her to be there?" How could Lu Chen be stupid at this time? He said with a smile, "Of course not. I just want to save some money." Yi Zitong lowered her head, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. They had dinner at a nearby Western restaurant. Because Lu Chen was not very familiar with the surroundings of the university town, Yi Zitong chose the buffet by herself. She used her mobile phone to order a group purchase on the internet, and it only cost 98 yuan per person. The environment and dishes were very good. After dinner, they went out for a walk along the artificial lake, and arrived at the skating rink at 7 o'clock. The skating rink had just opened, and the decoration was quite magnificent, and it was a real ice rink. It was just after 7 o'clock, and the business here was very hot. Lu Chen queued for more than 10 minutes before he got 2 pairs of skates and a new down jacket. The down jacket was rented to Yi Zitong. It was very cold in the real ice rink, and she couldn't stand it in a skirt. In order to rent new clothes that no one had worn before, Lu Chen also secretly gave some tips to the staff. Try to see if it fits. If it doesn't, I'll change it. At the entrance to the ice rink, he helped Yi Zitong put on the skates and asked, "Have you skated before?" Yi Zitong was a little shy, but she still accepted Lu Chen's help generously. "I skated on roller skates." The skates were just right, not too big or too small. "Then there's no problem," Lu Chen said with a smile. "It's easy to skate on real ice after skating on roller skates. Just pay attention to your balance and practice more." He reached out to Yi Zitong, "I'll take you there, and you can get used to it first." Yi Zedong hesitated for a moment, but she still put her white, jade-like hand in Lu Chen's hand. Holding her smooth hand, Lu Chen was a little absent-minded. There was also a skating rink in Hangzhou, but it was not as big as the one in the capital. When Lu Chen was a freshman and sophomore, he often went there to skate and mastered a lot of amateur moves. But at that time, he was holding another girl's hand. Now the scene was the same, but things were still the same, but the people had changed. What's wrong? Yi Zedong's mind was very delicate. She noticed that Lu Chen's expression was a little strange, so she couldn't help but ask. Lu Chen came to his senses and quickly said with a smile, "Nothing. I'm just thinking about how to play with you." He secretly reminded himself that he had been absent-minded several times today. Yi Zedong smiled and said, "Don't bother. We can play slowly. I'm a little afraid of falling. It's very painful." "Then you hold my hand tightly." Lu Chen smiled and pulled Yi Zedong up. He took her to skate from the outside to the infield. In order to take care of his female companion, he skated very slowly at the beginning, so that Yi Zedong could adapt to the skates with skates. There was still a big difference between real skates and roller skates, but Yi Zedong's balance was very good. Under the leadership of Lu Chen, she was soon able to skate by herself, although she still had to be careful. The indoor skating rink was very large, at least 700 to 800 square meters. The lights on the high dome were all turned on, and the bright lights illuminated the entire venue. There were a lot of people who had already skated. Most of them were young men and women like Lu Chen and Yi Zedong. They were wearing colorful ski jackets and chasing each other along the ice track under the accompaniment of passionate music. There were also a lot of people in the stands around. They were cheering and booing, making the entire ice rink very lively. The chilly air was filled with joyful laughter and the scent of youthful hormones. Lu Chen led Yi Zedong to avoid the mainstream crowd. They skated on the edge of the outer track and gradually sped up. Yi Zedong tightly held Lu Chen's hand. She was a little nervous, but more excited. "Don't go too fast," she said loudly and then giggled. Her laughter was as clear as a silver bell, and the sound seeped into Lu Chen's heart. Lu Chen suddenly felt that life was so beautiful. There were always surprises. Chapter 89. On July 3, Lu Chen successfully passed the official audition of Singing China and advanced to the qualifying round. Singing China is the first reality talent show launched by Beijing Television. Its theme is Walking and Singing, Singing China. It is jointly organized by Beijing Television in conjunction with Youshi, NetEase Music and Tianya Culture, so it has attracted wide attention in China. Singing China is divided into 7 major singing areas: Beijing, Xinjiang, Huhai, Hangzhou, Tianfu, Huaqing and Bihai. It uses a unique Turing PK method to decide the final champion, with a total prize amount of more than 30 million. Since 2008, the domestic variety industry has been surging, and Supergirl, represented by Shonen TV, has set off the craze of reality talent shows and has achieved great success. Many satellite TV stations have begun to follow suit, and similar variety shows have emerged one after another, forming a pattern of strong coexistence. Over the years, the competition between them has been very fierce. Originally, Beijing Television has always been a bystander in this competition, giving people a very reserved feeling. But in the face of huge interests, any reservation is doomed not to last long. Therefore, at the advent of this summer vacation, Beijing Television launched Singing China, which has been brewing for a long time, with its strong background and resources as support, sounded the horn of entering the variety stage. Beijing Satellite TV's 3 major partners, Youshi Network, NetEase Music and Tianya Culture, are all the best in the domestic industry. It is based in the big capital circle, so it dares to confront Xiangnan Satellite TV's Super Singer head-on. The timing of the audition chosen by Beijing Television is very coincidental, just after Shonan TV's Super Singer, so that a large number of eliminated talent contestants can turn to the Singing China camp, and the latter's requirements are obviously much broader than the former, and people with good songs have a chance to qualify for promotion. And in Beijing, there is no shortage of talents in this area. During the official audition, Lu Chen didn't even take out his original works. He easily got the promotion card with a self-played and sung song, Flying Pigeon. Let me tell you a piece of good news. I will participate in the Singing China talent competition on the 10th of this month. Welcome to the live broadcast, and please support us. When Lu Chen announced the news to hundreds of thousands of online fish fans in the live broadcast on Whale TV, the entire live broadcast room was boiling. The barrage was like a long river bursting its dike, mightily flooding the screen. Long live the host. Waha, we can actually see our Lu Feida on TV. I support you. Come on. Work hard. Congratulations to the host. I hope the host can win the championship. The people of Beijing send their congratulations. Lu Feida is invincible and stands at the top. Congratulations from the people of Xiangnan. The people of Zhejiang send their congratulations. Congratulations from the people of the deep sea. The people of the island, along with the barrage, there were countless fish balls and aircraft carriers. In fact, a long time ago, there were fish fans who hoped that Lu Chen would participate in the talent show. Everyone thought that with his talent, he should not succumb to the live broadcast on the internet, but should become a real star on a bigger and broader stage. Although the current live broadcast on the internet is very popular, and the income of a popular online anchor is no worse than that of a third or fourth-rate star, but in people's habitual impression, the influence of the two is still incomparable. Now that Lu Chen has finally taken this step, most people are happy and wish him well. In the eyes of these fish fans, Lu Chen is a figure supported by everyone. If he can make a name for himself in the talent show on TV, it would be wonderful. If Lu Chen becomes popular and becomes a big star in the future, then they can proudly say to others that they have chatted with this big star, fought together, and worked hard together. Congratulations, boss. After the live broadcast, Li Bai sent a private message to Lu Chen through QQ. I won't say anything else. Let's see our Lu Jiejun's performance at that time. I promise I won't let you down. Any reality talent show can't ignore the audience outside the venue. Whether it's SMS voting, online voting, or telephone voting, the influence of the audience outside the venue has always been the most important. Even if there is insider manipulation, the data on the surface has always been the largest proportion of the audience's fan votes. This is precisely where Lu Chen's advantage lies. At present, the number of followers in Lu Fei's live broadcast room is close to 1 million, and Lu Jiejun has more than 50,000 members in the QQ group. Once it is fully mobilized, it will undoubtedly be a strong support force. Lu Chen is not the only one who has moved from the live broadcast room to the pan-entertainment industry. There have been successful examples in the past. Thank you. Lu Chen replied, and at the same time, he selected a file saved on the hard disk and sent it to him. Li Bai, ? Lu Chen, a small gift for you. I hope you will like it. Li Bai laughed. Boss, is it a selfie video of you? I'll make it clear first, I'm a straight man. Lu Chen, Li Bai received it. After a full 5 minutes, Li Bai asked, Boss, is this for me? Even through the screen, Lu Chen could feel the other party's surprise. He smiled and quickly typed on the keyboard, Yes, this song is my gift to you. I didn't register it in the Greater China Music Library. You completed it yourself, and it belongs to your name. The person Lu Chen has always been most grateful to is this friend he has never met, his #1 fan. In the beginning stage of Lu Chen's broadcasting career, if it wasn't for Li Bai's unstinting support, he would not have been able to achieve what he has today and earn so much money through live broadcasting. Li Bai himself has given him more than 200,000 yuan. Lu Jiejun's fan club has always been managed by him, and God knows how many red packets have been given out. Receiving a drop of water from others, one must repay it with a spring. Lu Chen has always been a person who distinguishes between kindness and hatred. He is very grateful for Li Bai's support, but he does not know how to repay it. This local tycoon is a typical rich second generation. According to him and Lu Chen, his daily life is nothing but spending money. Even his father does not expect him to have any career. As long as he does not cause trouble and completes the mission of carrying on the family line in the future, everything will be fine. And through normal communication, Lu Chen also knows that Li Bai likes music very much. He once formed a band and once had the dream of becoming a singer, but unfortunately, he does not have much talent. At most, he can only go to bars to entertain himself. That is why he is so supportive of Lu Chen. After understanding this, Lu Chen has an idea. He carefully picked a song and gave it to Li Bai as a gift. Lu Chen believes that this is the most suitable gift. Li Bai was silent and did not respond for a long time. Lu Chen thought that he disconnected and could not help but ask, "Are you there?" Li Bai replied, "Yes, thank you, boss." Lu Chen put on a smile and said, "I should be the one thanking you. Find someone to help arrange this song, preferably someone who is good at country rock style, and release a single." After a few more minutes, Li Bai replied, "Okay." Lu Chen felt a little strange, but he did not care. After saying goodbye to him, he went offline to rest. At the same time, Beijing 2nd Ring Road, Pingan District, A7 Villa. In the study room on the 3rd floor of the villa, the light was still on. A young man in his 20s was sitting in front of the computer with a blank look in his eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. What was displayed on the screen was the score of a song. After a moment, as if awakened from a dream, he suddenly jumped up and grabbed the phone on the desk. Skillfully dialing the number, the young man anxiously walked back and forth in the study room. After waiting for a few seconds, the other side connected. "Hello?" The young man shouted impatiently, "Hello my ass, I am Li Mubai. Hurry up and find me an arranger. I want the best, must be good at country rock style. It doesn't matter how much money it costs, I have a song to accompany." Very late. What's so late now? The nightlife hasn't even started yet. Which of those people goes to bed so early? Remember, I must have the best. I want to reorganize the band. After the call, the young man sat back in the chair and let out a long breath. He blinked and suddenly felt a little strange. He subconsciously reached out and wiped the corner of his eyes. His fingertips were stained with some moisture. The young man was stunned and immediately cursed, "Motherf *cur." His voice was very soft. Chapter 90. At 8:00 p.m. on July 5, the China Music Chart for the first week of July was refreshed on time. China Music Chart, or Original Music Chart for short, was jointly created by the China Musicians Association in conjunction with dozens of media such as QQ Music, NetEase Music, Pop Radio, etc. With its professional music attitude, strict review system, and credible data collection, it has become a highly authoritative pop music chart in China. The Original Music Chart is published every weekend, ranking the top 50 domestic pop songs according to the Popularity Index. The chart index is based on data provided by major music media, including broadcast, download, on-demand, purchase and other values, converted according to a fixed formula. Although there is the possibility of artificial manipulation of the data of websites and media, the huge amount of data and multi-point collection methods, coupled with the existence of official power, basically ensure the fairness and impartiality of the original music chart. Therefore, compared with the various lists launched by different media, the China music chart is undoubtedly more recognized by hundreds of millions of listeners and is regarded as the number one in the pop music chart. The original music chart for the first week of July has not changed much from last week. The biggest highlight is the rapid rise of a band called Wandering in the chart. This week, a total of 3 songs were on the chart at the same time. The Bionics' Reason to Be Strong / Popularity Index, 2044, ranked 47th this week. The Bionics' I Want to Have a Home / Popularity Index, 3505, ranked 29th this week. The Bionics' In the Spring / Popularity Index, 5780, ranked 17th this week. For the majority of music fans, the original music chart is the best basis to search for songs. Except for the fans of those singers, most people don't care much about the data ranking itself. They all follow the trend and listen to whatever songs are good. However, the newly released original music chart, in the eyes of people in the circle, can see a lot of things. First of all, the stunning appearance of the Bionics, as a previously unknown band that not many people have heard of, has 3 works on the original music chart at the same time, which is undoubtedly a sign of popularity. In fact, last week, the Bionics' In the Spring was already on the chart, ranked 43rd. This week, it jumped to 17th. The momentum of the increase was amazing, and it also showed strong potential. Moreover, the song's evaluation was very good, with 97.26% of likes. The people in the industry also noticed a detail that ordinary listeners would not pay much attention to. The 3 songs of the Bionics were all written by the same unknown author. A Reason to Be Strong lyrics / music, Lu Chen. I Want to Have a Home lyrics / music, Lu Chen. In the Spring lyrics / composer, Lu Chen. Today, when the power of domestic original works was in decline, the sudden appearance of such a talented songwriter made many people in the circle use their connections to inquire about him. Who was Lu Chen? Therefore, the China music chart in the first week of July not only made the Bionics famous, but also made Lu Chen's name shine for the first time in the circle he was about to enter. Regrettably, Lu Chen didn't know this for the time being. In the afternoon of the same day, he rushed to the Blue Sky Creative Park area in Beijing's 5th Ring Road. The Blue Sky Creative Park area was established 5 years ago. It was specially established by the capital government to support innovative and creative small enterprises. Its policies are open-minded and efficient, especially for young entrepreneurs in the capital circle. Therefore, it has attracted a large number of small enterprises and companies to settle in. Take subway line 9 and get off at the Blue Sky Park station. When you come out, you can see the main gate of the park. Wang Chongqing was already waiting for him at the exit. Lu Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the other party would be waiting for him here. It was really unexpected. Lu Chen met this middle-aged man in the Delong building of Tianzhai Workshop last time. At that time, the other party solicited album production business from him, which left a deep impression on Lu Chen and a business card. Lu Chen didn't want to hand over his first album to this unknown Nirvana studio to produce. His first cooperation partner was the well-known Tianzhai Workshop in the industry. Lu Chen has heard the mini-album produced by Tianzhai Workshop for the Bionics, which is very good. But the appearance of Juxing Corporation's Jin Hongwei made him change his mind. Jin Hongwei is a director of Tianzhai Workshop and holds shares in this music production unit, and Lu Chen has completely fallen out with the other party. How could he put his album in Tianzhai Workshop? So Lu Chen found Wang Chongqing's business card. Of course, without knowing the details of the other party, Lu Chen can't rashly throw the whole album over. There was an opportunity in front of him, so he took the initiative to contact Wang Chongqing and came directly. The manager of Nirvana Studio should have been waiting at the subway entrance for a long time. "Hello, Mr. Liu. Seeing Lu Chen, Wang Chongqing immediately showed a surprised expression and stepped forward to him and extended his hands. "Manager Wang, we meet again." Lu Chen smiled and shook hands with him and said, "Please come and pick me up. In fact, I can go by myself." Wang Chongqing explained, "Blue Sky Park is very big. This is your first time here. I'm worried that you won't be able to find the place." Lu Chen was relieved. "Then let's go." Because it has not been established for a long time, the buildings in Blue Sky Creative Park are still very new. Many of the green trees on both sides of the sidewalk are newly transplanted. Most of the people in a hurry on the road are young people. Perhaps it is because of this that the feeling here is full of vitality. Even the shops and restaurants along the street look different, and the design of the signboards is very unique. On the way to the studio, Lu Chen and Wang Chongqing talked. Through the dialogue, he learned that Wang Chongqing was originally a music teacher in middle school. Last year, he resigned from his teaching position and took out his life savings to start this Nirvana studio. For a middle-aged man in his 50s, Wang Chongqing's courage amazed Lu Chen. It should be known that at the age of knowing destiny, not many people are willing to run out to start a business when they have a stable and comfortable job, especially when they have to take out their old capital. For Lu Chen's admiration, Wang Chongqing said with a wry smile, "In fact, I have no choice. For my children." It turned out that Wang Chongqing has 2 children. His daughter graduated from the composition department of the Beijing Conservatory of Music 2 years ago, and his son graduated from the Music Engineering Department of the Northern Conservatory of Music last year. It was for them that he started this studio. A musical family. Lu Chen couldn't help but be in awe. Zhongyin, Beijing and Beiyin are the 3 major conservatories of music in the capital. They are famous both at home and abroad and enjoy a high reputation internationally. They are loved by thousands of music students. The number of applicants every year often reaches hundreds of thousands. But only a few tenths of them can really be admitted by the 3 major conservatories of music. Wang Chongqing's daughter graduated from Beijing Conservatory of Music and his son graduated from Beiyin. As a music teacher, he must have devoted countless efforts to the training of his children. How can such a person not be respected? He is completely different from that kind of shrewd businessman. However, Lu Chen can see that the operating situation of Nirvana Studio is probably not ideal. Of course, he won't break this point, because it's better to be kind. Nirvana Studio is located on the 7th floor of an office building in the park. The location is not very good, but the rent is estimated to be cheap. Take the elevator up, turn left out of the elevator and see the logo and guide marks of the studio on the wall. Wang Chongqing was very embarrassed. Our studio has just been set up, so the place is not big. A standard music production unit, including office area, electronic room, reception room and the most important recording studio, will not be too small, otherwise, it will not be able to play at all. Purely from the perspective of scale, Nirvana Studio is undoubtedly disappointing. The narrow office area is adjacent to the even narrower reception room. The cramped and limited space makes people feel depressed. There are only 2 employees inside, and there is not even a receptionist at the door. Wang Chongqing asked Lu Chen to sit down on the sofa, personally poured tea for him, and explained, "I just took an order yesterday. They are all busy in the recording studio. I'll let Wang Jing talk to you." Wang Jing is Wang Chongqing's daughter and another person in charge of Nirvana Studio. She was the one who arranged the music. Chapter 91. When Lu Chen first saw Wang Jing, his feeling was, this kid was so handsome. Then he immediately realized that he had made a mistake. The other party was not a boy, but a girl. A handsome girl. She was about 1.75 meters tall, with a pair of straight, compact-like legs wrapped in thin blue jeans. Her upper body was covered with a self-made silk-printed cotton t-shirt. Her hair was cut very short, so she looked very neat and tidy. The girl was very beautiful. Whether it was her eyes, nose, lips, or chin, they were in line with the usual aesthetic standards, but she was not the kind of popular charm or gorgeous, and had a heroic spirit that was difficult to describe in words. What impressed Lu Qin most was her eyes, which were bright and energetic like the morning stars. "This is my daughter, Wang Jing," Wang Chongqing introduced them to each other. "This is Mr. Lu Qin, our studio's new client." "Hello." Wang Jing generously extended her hand to Lu Qin. "Welcome to Nirvana Studios." Lu Qin shook hands with her. "Hello." After sitting down again, Lu Qin handed the printed music score to the other party and asked, "I want to ask your studio to help me complete the arrangement and accompaniment recording of this song. Can it be done in 2 days?" Wang Jing frowned, took the printed paper and looked at it. She looked at it very carefully and hummed softly according to the music score. Her singing tone was very accurate. Her furrowed brows gradually relaxed, and a look of surprise appeared on her face. After a moment, the handsome girl raised her head and asked, "Mr. Lu, did you write this song yourself?" Lu Qin nodded. "Yes." His name was printed on the score sheet as the songwriter. Wang Jing asked doubtfully, "This song is very well written. Why did you ask me to arrange it?" Wang Jing. Before Lu Qin could answer, Wang Chongqing glared at her fiercely and said, "Mr. Lu asked you if you could finish it in 2 days. Why are you asking those irrelevant questions?" Wang Chongqing knew his daughter's temper too well. He was afraid that she would scare away Lu Qin, a hard-won client. Wang Jing pursed her lips. She did not refute her father, but her silence and the stubborn look on her face made the atmosphere in the small reception room a little awkward. Lu Qin coughed and was about to explain when Wang Jing suddenly said, 2 days is too short. I can't guarantee the best quality. Can you give me a few more days?" Lu Qin said, "Here's the thing. I'm going to participate in a talent show on Beijing television on the 10th, because the accompaniment of the song has to be sent in advance, the time can't be delayed, but I don't ask for the best quality." Singing China. Wang Jing's brows wrinkled again. "Since it's such an important thing, why didn't you come a few days earlier?" Lu Qin smiled bitterly. He finally understood why Wang Chongqing had to go to the Delong building to pull business. Wang Jing's temper was too easy to offend clients. How could the studio's business be good? Lu Qin was not angry. Many powerful people tend to be different from ordinary people in terms of character. A graduate of Jingyin should be trustworthy. But her father, Wang Chongqing, was about to cry, "Wang Jing." Wang Jing raised her head and said, 2 days is fine, but the production cost will be 20,000 yuan, 20,000 yuan. Lu Chen's look became strange. "Miss, I'm easy to talk to. You can't take me for a fool. 20,000 yuan for a song, just for the arrangement and accompaniment. Why did he go to Nirvana Studios to produce it?" Lu Qin couldn't help but look at Wang Chongqing, who was sitting on one side. At this time, Wang Chongqing finally showed the emotional intelligence of a qualified studio manager. He calmly said to Wang Jing, "You go and get ready. I'll talk to Mr. Lu about the production cost." The latter was obviously unwilling, but the sincerity in Wang Chongqing's eyes made her silent, and she left with the music score. Wang Chongqing finally breathed a sigh of relief, and then said to Lu Qin with embarrassment, "Mr. Lu, my daughter has a bad temper. Please don't mind, but you can rest assured of her ability. Our studio will work overtime to help you complete this song. As for the price, what do you think of 10,000 yuan?" He took the initiative to cut the price in half. Obviously, he was very eager to win Lu Chen's business. Although Lu Chen knew that if he persisted, he might be able to cut down another few thousand yuan. After all, this was an urgent business. It was normal for the price to be higher, and if he cut it too hard, others might not be willing to work hard to produce it. After thinking about it, he said, 10,000 yuan is fine. If this song can satisfy me, then my first album can also be given to your studio to produce. Okay. Wang Changxing was overjoyed. I also hope to work with Mr. Liu for a long time. Making a complete album was different from making 10 singles. The former was more demanding. Therefore, for any music studio, making an album was a challenge, but also an opportunity. If the albums sold well, it was easy to become famous in the industry, and business would naturally roll in. Nirvana Studios had not produced a real album since its establishment. Therefore, Wang Changxing was more and more determined to firmly hold on to Lu Qin as a customer. He said very sincerely, Mr. Liu, since you are here, take a look at our studio's recording studio first. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Lu Qin smiled and said, I want to see the recording studio. Let's talk about dinner later. Under the guidance of the other party, he came to the recording studio of Nirvana Studios to visit. This recording studio occupied more than half of the entire studio area. It had condenser microphones, microphone amplifiers, monitoring speakers, voice effects, mixers, VOD song ordering machines, and other hardware equipment. It was quite professional. The room was very tidy and clean. The installation and layout of pipelines, air conditioners, soundproof walls, and soundproof doors were in place. Although the space inside was not very large, it did not feel cramped, in sharp contrast to the office area outside. The person in charge of the recording studio was Wang Changxing's son, Wang Hui. The handsome young man with glasses was shy, and his appearance was similar to his sister. He didn't talk much, but he talked about the recording in a clear and logical way. Wang Changxing was very proud of his son. He invited politely, Mr. Liu, would you like shall we to record a song for you on the spot? It's free. Lu Qin suddenly became interested and asked, do you have guitars here? Nirvana Studios not only had guitars, but also a small Nirvana band. Along with the guitars were 4 band members, including Wang Jing. The other 3 were young people in their 20s. They stood in the control room and watched Lu Qin sing through the vacuum glass window. It was the first time in his life that Lu Qin had entered a recording studio, but in the dream world, Su Bo was a frequent visitor to the recording studio. It was just that most of the songs Su Bo recorded in the recording studio were other people's songs. In order to make a living, he often accompanied others, sang demos, and even sang harmonies. He had never released an album that really belonged to him. When the memory came back, Lu Qin held the guitar and closed his eyes in front of the microphone. He didn't open them for a long time. In the outer control room, a long-haired young man sneered softly. Funny, it's not like we're shooting a movie. The man in a black t-shirt next to him pretended to be serious and said, you don't understand. This is called brewing emotions. The short young man between the two shook his shoulders and couldn't help laughing. Wang Jing crossed her arms and didn't speak. Her eyes stared at Lu Qin, and a faint smile appeared on her lips. Fortunately, Wang Changxing had just gone out, otherwise he would have been angered to death by them. Wang Hui frowned and wanted to say something but stopped. Several band members knew the propriety and didn't joke too much. They all put away their smiles. As for what they thought in their hearts, only they knew. Of course, Lu Qin, who was in the recording room, couldn't hear the conversation outside. He felt that his mood had been adjusted to the best state. He opened his eyes and nodded to Wang Hui, indicating that it was time to start. Wang Hui immediately pressed the button and gave Lu Qin a thumbs up, come on. Lu Qin plucked the strings and played the high-spirited prelude in a natural and smooth manner. The song he was going to sing was, Once You. Chapter 92. I once dreamed of going to the end of the world with a sword and seeing the prosperity of the world. In Lu Chen's heart, this song is his favorite. Words are the voice of the heart, and songs are to sing. This song, Once You, sings Lu Chen's former dreams and experiences, and also contains firm courage and confidence in life, which is the portrayal of him today. So even if it's the first time he sang in a recording studio, he still sang with strong emotions and sang his true self. The young heart is always a little frivolous. Now you have the world as your home. The song was clearly transmitted to the ears of everyone in the control room through the high-quality monitoring speakers. The members of the Nirvana band were silent, and all the laughter, ridicule disappeared. The more they understand music, the more they understand the weight and power of a good song. They are all hearing this song, Once You, for the first time, so they are even more shocked. Isn't such a song exactly what they want to write and sing, and what they have been searching for? Even the most unruly long-haired young man put away his contempt and disapproval of Lu Chen. They listened quietly. After experiencing the vicissitudes of life, the warmth and coldness of the world, this smile is warm and pure. In the recording room, the sound lingered. Lu Chen's fingers stroked the steel strings, and he wanted to continue. Maybe it's the special environment here, or maybe it's because he wanted to sing well for a long time, so he is in a particularly good state. And this state, acting is called immersion, and singing is called immersion, which can move people the most. Wang Hui turned his head and said to Wang Jing very seriously, "Sister, the songs he wrote are much better than yours." Wang Jing stared at him and waved her hand, but she didn't slap him. Because she couldn't refute. Chi was not convinced. How do you know this song was written by him? Wang Hui didn't answer, just pointed to the computer screen. On the 30-inch LCD screen, the web page of a Greater China Music Library is clearly displayed, and everything is explained according to the latest query results of the lyrics. Work, Once You, /lyrics, Lu Chen /composer, Lu Chen /registered copyright, Lu Chen. Thanks to the great technology, technical geeks could easily listen to songs, recognize songs, and debate lyrics with just a click of the mouse. Even if they wanted to slap someone in the face, there would be irrefutable evidence. You can't say that the Greater China Music Library is fake, right? Chi was speechless. After Lu Chen finished playing and singing once, he found the right feeling and recorded the guitar accompaniment and the a cappella. Since it was recorded for fun, the two tracks were recorded once each, and the final synthesis was done by the sound engineer. He pushed open the soundproof door and walked out. He handed the guitar back to Wang Jing and said, "Thank you for the guitar." Wang Jing silently took it, a complicated expression on her face. As proud as she is, she has to admit that she can't write such a song, and neither can Nirvana. The long-haired young man took the initiative to extend his hand to Lu Chen. "Hello, my name is Chen Jiyoung, the drummer of Nirvana." Lu Chen smiled. "Lu Chen, nice to meet you." The Nirvana band of Nirvana Studios has a total of 4 official members and 1 non-staff member. Chen Jiyoung is the drummer, Zhang Yan is the bass player, and Sun Hao, a small man, is the keyboard player. The captain of this small band is Wang Jing, who is also the lead singer and guitarist. As for the non-staff member, that is naturally Wang Hui. The Nirvana band usually plays music for the studio and also goes out to perform, but most of them are not in the bar. "Brother Chen, come and listen to the effect." Wang Hui moved quickly and completed the synthesis with the software in just a few minutes. He attentively handed the monitoring headset to Lu Chen. Although the two just met, they were very intimate. "Can you have a little integrity?" Wang Jing bit her lip and stared at Wang Hui fiercely. Wang Hui turned a blind eye to his sister. He stared at Lu Chen eagerly, looking a little nervous. "Thank you." Lu Chen took the monitoring headset and listened to the playback of the synthetic recording. Due to physiological reasons, the way people hear their own voices is different from the way other people hear them. Lu Chen has heard his own voice before, but it was only a live video on the internet. There is no need to talk about the sound quality at all. It is no problem to fool ordinary music lovers, but it is unbearable for the picky ears. But now the audio recorded through a professional recording studio is completely different. What surprised Lu Chen was that Wang Hui obviously tuned the sound on the spot and made appropriate modifications, so it sounded very good. To be continued. No one's voice was flawless. If a high-quality human voice recorded by professional equipment was not edited, then any flaws would be magnified and could be heard clearly. That would be a problem. Therefore, the post-processing is very important. A high-quality album often requires a recording master or sound repairman to spend a lot of time to modify and adjust, and finally reach a perfect level. Wang Hui recorded and tuned on the spot. Of course, it was impossible to make it perfect, but Lu Chen already listened very well. The singing is clear and pure, and contains emotional power. The overall timbre is warm and full, which makes people feel excited when they listen. Especially the processing of the climax part, he was even more satisfied. Taking off the monitoring headset, Lu Chen gave Wang Hui a thumbs up. Great. Not good enough. Wang Hui himself was not very satisfied and said, it's only 5 or 6 points at most. I tuned it with software, and the effect is still a lot worse. This song needs to be arranged to enrich the timbre. Give me 3 or 4 days to modify it, then at least the effect can be 8 or 9 points. Lu Chen said with a smile, it's really good enough. Lu Chen doesn't know the other people in Nirvana Studios, but he already has a sense of trust in Wang Hui. At least he didn't come in vain today. Chen Jiong asked, Lu Chen, is this song going to be in your album? Previously, Wang Changxing told them to do a good job on the song that Lu Chen brought over, and there was still the whole album behind it. Lu Chen nodded and said, if there is no accident, it should be. Sun Hao asked, which company are you signing with now? Lu Chen smiled and said, I haven't signed with any entertainment company, and I'm not going to sign one. At present, I'm doing it alone. Doing it alone. The members of Nirvana looked at each other. Although Lu Chen's answer was not very unexpected to them, they were still surprised to be confirmed. Chen Jiong said, it's too difficult to get ahead on your own, even if you have good works. It's true, and Lu Chen himself has a deep feeling. In today's era, not to mention the stars and celebrities in the entertainment industry, it is basically impossible for those internet celebrities on the internet to rely on their own strength to break out of the Red Sea without professional hype and publicity. Some people hype, some people praise, some people hate, and some people blow. You want to be popular alone. Dream on. Even Lu Chen himself, who is currently successful in Whale TV, was able to really emerge after signing a contract and getting the support and promotion of the website. And the competition in the entertainment industry is much more fierce and cruel. He replaced Jin Hongwei and was directly eliminated in the audition of Super Singer. This is the end of having no one behind you. However, Lu Chen has decided to take a different path. His determination is firm and he is working hard. Wang Jing, who has not spoken, suddenly said, you are right. Lu Chen looked at her with a little surprise. During the conversation, Wang Changxing came back. Seeing everyone around Lu Chen in the control room, he asked, what's the matter? Lu Chen said with a smile, I was just talking to everyone. I just listened to the song Wang Hui recorded for me. It was very good. Now I believe in your strength. I think it's right to put the work in Nirvana Studios. It doesn't cost money to say something nice. Lu Chen also hopes that they can take good care of their work. Wang Changxing was pleasantly surprised. He smiled and patted his son on the shoulder. Good, good. Lu Chen said again, Manager Wang, let me invite everyone to dinner in the evening. After all, I have to let everyone work hard. Wang Changxing said quickly, no, let me do it. I'll do it. How can you let a client treat you to dinner? Teacher Wang's idea is very simple. Wang Jing looked on coldly. She added another word to her evaluation of Lu Qin, cunning. At the same time, she was a little depressed. How could such a person write such a song? Of course, Lu Qin could not know Wang Jing's evaluation of himself, but he has some ideas about Nirvana Studios and Nirvana Band. If nothing unexpected happens, there should be many opportunities for cooperation between the two sides. So, he is willing to have a good relationship with Wang Chongqing, Wang Hui, and others. One more friend, one more way. In the evening, Lu Qin invited them to dinner. 2 days later, he successfully got the arrangement and accompaniment work completed by Nirvana Studios. Everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.